Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Wrong Interrogation Room, the first cracked case shocked the world. Chapter 21. When did the deceased Sun Hurong die? Hear this bland reply from Ning Chang. Except for Chen Chang, an expert from the forensic department present, most of the people were at a loss. Where did the evidence come from? What do you mean? Zhou Ziyan asked. Ning Chang didn't answer directly, but asked, what time is it now? Zhou Ziyan glanced at her watch. It's nearly 7 in the evening. Very good. Ning Chang nodded and said, according to my autopsy, the deceased Sun Hurong died for more than 24 hours, and the specific time should be between 9 to 10 o'clock last night. Zhou Ziyan and the other team members widened their eyes. Ning Chang really knows forensic autopsy. And the timing is so accurate. What does Director Chen think of the time of death of the deceased judged by Ning Chang? Zhou Ziyan asked Chen Chang, a professional forensic expert. Chen Chang looked at Ning Chang in surprise, nodded and said. Ning Chang did not misjudge. He used the middle ear canal thermometry on the deceased before, and the operation was very standard. Considering that the body is soaked in water, the capillaries are constricted and energy is consumed, and the death time of the deceased is indeed in the interval of 9 to 10 o'clock last night. Quote. Very well. Since Director Chen and I both agree that the deceased Sun Hurong died at 9 to 10 p.m., now the problem is coming. Ning Chang looked at Zhou Ziyan and the team members around him. Wang Peng is running by the river at around 8 o'clock. How did he kill? Hedao East District has surveillance video of him running, which can prove that he was running during that time. Zhou Ziyan realized the loophole in the case and asked Wang Peng, where were you at 9 to 10 last night? No. Wang Peng said excitedly, I was in the colorful tavern in Zhongcheng during that time. A friend of mine asked me to drink. Which pub did I drink with him until the early hours of the morning? There must be a surveillance record of me. I didn't kill anyone. Wow, really reversed. Zhou Ziyan and the other members of the criminal police team looked at Ning Chang in surprise, and their eyes flashed with admiration. The autopsy results of the time of death were endorsed by the forensic expert Director Chen, and there was almost no mistake. Wang Peng was under surveillance in the tavern again, and he had sufficient alibi. The superposition of the two has completely cleared Wang Peng of the murder suspicion. Is it all right now? Ning Chang looked at Zhou Ziyan, the detachment leader, calmly. Okay, at this point, Wang Peng's suspicion can be said to have been cleared. Zhou Ziyan smiled. Her style was sassy and cool. I didn't expect you to know forensic skills, really strong. The surrounding team members all looked at Ning Chang in shock. This wave of autopsy operations was too showy. If it wasn't for Wang Peng having a good friend like Ning Chang, he would probably have stayed in the name of a suspect for a long time. Since Wang Peng's suspicions have been cleared, does Team Zhou have any ideas for solving the case? Ning Chang asked tentatively. Already there. Take the body back to the police station, and give me some time to solve the case completely. Ning Chang said directly. If it still takes time, then Zhou team might as well hand over the case to me. I should be able to solve the case as soon as possible. In an instant, the team members in the cordon looked at Zhou Ziyan and Ning Chang. Good guy. Listening to Ning Chang's meaning is to take the initiative to solve the case with Captain Zhou. As a new trainee, it is a big taboo to meet your boss, especially a leader of the detachment level. Ning Chang also knew it was taboo. However, he felt that Zhou Ziyan was not such a pedantic person. They are all people who care about the truth of the case and attach importance to safeguarding the interests of the people. I don't care about fighting for power. Zhou Ziyan stared closely at Ning Chang, secretly annoyed. I have never seen such a straight man. But under that handsome face. What else can we do? Of course I forgive him. Want to fight with me for the initiative to solve the case? Ning Chang, do you have that strength? Zhou Ziyan forgave in her heart, but not to be outdone on the surface. After all, this has something to do with her team management in the future. If even Ning Chang can't control her, wouldn't any cat or dog dare to stab her in the future? Ning Chang smiled slightly. I want to try it. Then you did an autopsy on the body and found new clues. Ning Chang didn't deny it. Not bad. Director Chen, you can find clues that Ning Chang can find, right? Zhou Ziyan didn't want to show weakness and asked Ning Chang, so she asked Chen Chang, a forensic expert beside her, using the aggressive method. Chen Chang felt bitter in his heart. Zhou Ziyan had a conflict with the newcomer and had to involve him. What's this thing called? But this must be caught, otherwise it will prove that he is not as good as Ning Cheng. The autopsy does reveal new clues. Chen Cheng coughed lightly, lifted the white cloth, grabbed the palm of the deceased Sun Hirong, and deliberately showed his nails. Zhou Ziyan was experienced and smart, and immediately understood the intention of the forensic expert Director Chen. Are there remains of the murderer's DNA in the nails? Not bad. Chen Cheng nodded and said. The deceased Sun Hirong had manicures done, but now her nails are broken and broken. It can be seen that she fought fiercely with the murderer before she died. If there is no accident, take the corpse to the laboratory and extract the murderer's DNA left in the nails. Director Chen is very confident and determined, and has the professional demeanor of a forensic tycoon. Ning Cheng saw it in his eyes and smiled in his heart. Whether Director Chen could detect the murderer's skin and flesh samples in the crevices of the deceased Sun Hirong's nails, he knew very well. Totally impossible. Because the body was soaked in water for too long, Sun Hirong couldn't keep the skin and flesh samples in the crevices of her nails. But just while Director Chen was observing from a distance, Ning Cheng secretly played a trick, sticking some of Sun Hirong's own skin and flesh into the cracks of her nails, deliberately forging it. The purpose of doing this involves a game that Ning Cheng has set up. Zhou Ziyan raised the corners of her mouth, staring at Ning Cheng with a strong smile. Murderer DNA. By examining the murderer's DNA, and then quickly arresting the murderer, Ning Cheng, is this your support? It's really fast, it can save a lot of time. Ning Cheng shook his head and said, looking at the nails of the deceased Sun Hirong, and said casually. Testing DNA is really good, but not fast enough. My method is not this. What? This time, it wasn't just the squad leader Zhou Ziyan who was shocked. Even Chen Cheng, a forensic expert, had a huge stunned expression on his face. Just watched Ning Cheng examine the remains of corpse nails, and he thought that Ning Cheng would use the DNA remaining in the nails to arrest the murderer. But does Ning Cheng have a faster and more direct way to arrest the murderer? Within the cordon, many police officers at the scene looked at Ning Cheng in shock. If the autopsy found that the murderer's skin was sampled in the nails of the deceased Sun Hirong, and the DNA could be tested, what faster method could be used to test the DNA? However, Ning Cheng actually said that there is a faster way to arrest the murderer. It's too incredible. Of course Ning Cheng has, except for his own layout. The quickest way is to use the system sin value to filter. The murderer asked Sun Hirong to be on the moon bridge in the river, pushed her into the water and drowned. The suspicion of murder was pushed to Wang Peng's head step by step. Judging accordingly, the murderer should know Wang Peng's people and know Wang Peng's exercise habits very well. At least I know that Wang Peng likes to run on the river at 8 o'clock in the evening, and I know that the surveillance in the western area of the river has been in disrepair and damaged for a long time. On the whole, the layout people should be people in this area and are very familiar with this place. In this way, the identity of the builder's murderer is well screened. There may even be a crowd of onlookers at the scene who murdered Sun Hirong. This guess, it was not random guessing by Ning Cheng. Rather, it has a case-by-case basis. Because the subconscious murderer has an expressive personality, he often enjoys the process of the police solving the case after killing, and often hangs around at the crime scene. Will the murderer be in the crowd? Ning Cheng's sharp eyes patrolled the crowd. From time to time, the crowd sounded the voice of discussion, and looked boldly and curiously into the cordon. It is a pity that Ning Cheng did not find the murderer using the systematic sin value analysis. The real murderer of the layout did not watch the police solve the case. It seems that the murderer does not have a performative personality. Is it really not that easy to solve the case? Ning Cheng smiled lightly, without any loss. Ning Cheng, you said you have a faster method than testing DNA, what is it? Zhou Ziyan couldn't help but asked curiously. Wait, let me stroke it. Ning Cheng waved his hand and looked at the direction of the onlookers. Instead of continuing to try to find the murderer in the crowd, he was thinking in another way. Wang Peng said that Sun Hirong, the blind date object, had no interest in him, and the suspicion was terminated half a month ago. This confession is credible after Wang Peng cleared his suspicions. In this case, why did Sun Hirong tell her parents that she has always kept in touch with Wang Peng online? Ning Cheng has also had a blind date and knows the psychology of both parties. Sun Hurong said this, most likely because she rejected blind date. But I couldn't resist my parents' request. So I kept in touch with Wang Peng on excuses to deal with my parents. But when Sun Hurong went out last night, she must have gone to see people. Whoever you see, as long as you restore the content of Sun Hurong's mobile phone through the technical department, you can find out the murderer and then deduce the truth. This method can find the murderer, but it also takes time. Who will Sun Hurong meet? There is no doubt that this person is the murderer, and this murderer is familiar with Wang Peng's living habits. The murderer is still from this area. He has a certain understanding of Wang Peng and Sun Hurong, and there is a causal relationship. Gradually, a criminal mind image of the setter formed in Ning Cheng's mind. Sun Yan, I want to ask you a question. Ning Cheng walked over to Sun Hurong's father and asked aloud. Officer, who killed my daughter, can you help me find the murderer? Grandfather put his hopes on Ning Cheng, and begged bitterly, just ask what you want to ask, and I will tell you everything I know. Ning Cheng asked, I want to know, where does your daughter Sun Hurong often go these days? She often told us that she was going to find Wang Peng. Sun Yan said in a low mood, I thought you were dating, so I didn't ask more details. Love dating. Ning Cheng froze in his heart and asked. You didn't ask for details. Have you heard Sun Hurong mention to you where the date is? Sun Yan, the father, shook his head. Not once. Ning Cheng didn't give up. You don't need to ask about the details of your daughter's love, but as a parent, you should be worried about your daughter's safety, right? I really don't know the location. The word, daughter is safe, stings Sun Yan and makes his eyes red. At this moment, Sun Hurong's mother trembled, grabbed Ning Cheng's hand, and said eagerly. Rong said that she wants to come to Starbucks Cafe in this neighborhood. In private, I asked her once. Starbucks Cafe, just across the river, belongs to this area. Ning Cheng thought of the criminal portrait of the murderer in his mind, his eyes narrowed suddenly, and he said to Zhou Ziyan. Starbucks Cafe, I should be able to find the clues I want here. Are you sure you can solve the case faster than DNA? Zhou Ziyan raised her eyebrows. Yes, because I often drink at a coffee shop and know it well. Ning Cheng said, and there is no dead-end surveillance there. Sun Hurong probably drank coffee there last night, and can find clues. Why are you familiar with which coffee shop? Zhou Ziyan frowned and said, usually at the police station, I've never seen you have the habit of drinking coffee. Ning Cheng was a little embarrassed. Can you not answer? What do you think? Well, I often ask my blind date where to have coffee. In an instant, Zhou Ziyan and the female forensic intern looked at Ning Cheng with strange eyes. Okay, let's go to the cafe. Zhou Ziyan agreed and ordered the team members to bring the body back to the forensic department for further DNA extraction. On the other side, it is to visit the cafe. The cafe is not far, just across the river. It didn't take long for Ning Cheng and Zhou Ziyan to arrive. Welcome, what would you like to drink? Entering the cafe, the boss who was entertaining guests at the front desk caught Ning Cheng's attention. He had already started the system sin value analysis, and immediately noticed the striking sin value above the cafe owner's head. Inside the cafe, not many guests at night. There were only 3 people at the front desk, 2 men and 1 woman. The 2 men are a barista and a waiter. The other woman is Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe. Ning Cheng has sat here a few times and is familiar with the makeup of the cafe. The coffee shop is owned by Lu Shi, the female owner, who is usually responsible for the operation and reception of the coffee shop. Male baristas are in charge of specialty hand-ground coffee, and waiters are in charge of regular coffee and helping customers. Ning Cheng looked at Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe, with a look of surprise in his eyes. He thought that the murderer of Sun Hurong might be a man, and he had a conflict with Wang Peng. But in the end it didn't happen. The murderer turned out to be a woman, and it was Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe. Did Wang Peng offend Lu Shi, the old lady in the cafe? Why did she put the suspicion on his head? Why did Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe, kill Sun Hurong? What irreconcilable conflict exists between the two? Looking at Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe, Ning Cheng was lost in thought. The other side. Team leader Zhou Ziyan noticed Ning Cheng's strangeness, and also stared at Lu Shi, the female boss at the front desk, as well as the barista and waiter. That is, Zhou Ziyan has rich experience in criminal investigation and has a vicious eye. At first glance, she noticed a red mark on the male barista's neck, as if he had been scratched. According to the autopsy results, Sun Hirong fought fiercely with the murderer before she died, and her fingernails were broken, which may have scratched the murderer. Zhou Ziyan sank in her heart and realized that something was wrong with this group of people. Hello, we are the police. Zhou Ziyan was not polite at all, and directly showed her police officer ID. While showing the police officer's ID, her eyes were fixed on the change in the male barista's expression. Sure enough, at this moment, Zhou Ziyan noticed that the male barista Wen Zhengchen was a little flustered. Ning Cheng also noticed the panicked expression of the male barista Wen Zhengchen. Strangely, compared to the male barista Wen Zhengchen, the real murderer's female boss, Lu Shi, seemed relatively calm. But only in relative terms. Lu Shi was also a little nervous, but quickly calmed down. Across the river from your cafe, there was a murder case. Zhou Ziyan turned on her phone and showed a photo of Sun Hirong. This is the deceased Sun Hirong, who was pushed down the river and drowned. Do you know each other? The barista Wen Zhengchen quickly shook his head and denied, I don't know. Zhou Ziyan did not let go of the cafe owner Lu Shi and asked, how about you? I know, I've met a few times, and it seems that I've come to the store to drink coffee a few times. Lu Shi covered his head and recalled thoughtfully. Yes, her parents did say she came here for coffee. Zhou Ziyan's eyes were sharp, and she forced the male barista Wen Zhengchen to say. She has an impression. As the barista in the store, don't you have an impression of Sun Hirong? Sun Hirong's appearance is not low, will you not be impressed? The barista touched the ring of the ring finger with his fingers, hesitated for a while, and said, I'm usually busy with work, so I may have seen her, but I don't have an impression. Zhou Ziyan asked several questions one after another, her brows getting deeper and deeper. I'm going to retrieve the video surveillance of the cafe last night for investigation and inspection. In an instant, the barista Wen Zhengchen's pupils condensed, and his body shuddered. Zhou Ziyan became more and more suspicious of the barista's ghost, but did not show it. It didn't take long for the female boss Lu Shi to retrieve the video surveillance from last night. After Zhou Ziyan glanced roughly, she suddenly glared at the barista Wen Zhengchen. You said you have no impression of Sun Hirong, what is this in the picture? This freeze-frame picture shows that you are sitting beside Sun Hirong and chatting and laughing when there are no customers in the store. Yesterday's picture, you forgot today. The barista Wen Zhengchen was speechless. Looking at the video, he kept shaking his head and said, I met Sun Hirong, but I'm not a murderer. At the same time, Ning Cheng was also looking through the surveillance video records. According to surveillance in the cafe, about 8:05 p.m., the deceased Sun Hirong was drinking coffee in a cafe. Seeing that there were no customers, the barista Wen Zhengchen chatted across from Sun Hirong. After about 10 minutes, Sun Hirong got up and left the cafe. The video has no sound, and the conversation between the two is unknown. What did you and Sun Hirong say in the video? Zhou Ziyan stared at Wen Zhengchen and said. I asked Sun Hirong to watch the play, and she agreed. At this time, Wen Zhengchen said everything and said anxiously. I really didn't kill Sun Hirong. Zhou Ziyan was unmoved and asked, when is the drama? There was a drama at 9 o'clock last night, but Sun Hirong didn't show up for the appointment, and she didn't answer my call. Zhou Ziyan's eyes narrowed. According to the autopsy of Ning Cheng and Director Chen, the death time of the deceased Sun Hirong was between 9 to 10 o'clock last night. This time happened to be the time when Wen Zhengchen asked Sun Hirong. Sun Hirong didn't make an appointment, where have you been? Zhou Ziyan continued to ask. I didn't come to the appointment, and I didn't answer the phone. I was a little angry, so I just went back to my rental house. You mean, you didn't go to the drama, you went home, someone gave you a testimony, did you prove it? Zhou Ziyan pressed step by step. Wen Zhengchen's face turned pale and said, I don't know, I'm the only one in my family. The alibi is not sufficient, and Zhou Ziyan's suspicion of Wen Zhengchen is growing. You have certain suspicions, you need to go to the police station with us first for further investigation. If you weren't the murderer, our police wouldn't wrong you, and they'd bring you back. Zhou Ziyan's eyes indicated that the surrounding criminal police had already watched Wen Zhengchen. I'm really not a murderer. Wen Zhengchen trembled and his face turned pale. Zhou Ziyan simply motioned to the team members and said, take it away first, and make a copy of the surveillance. And many more. At this moment, Ning Cheng shook his head and said, that barista Wen Zhengchen is indeed not the murderer. Wen Zhengchen, the barista, isn't the murderer. Zhou Ziyan and the team members around her were stunned. At present, Wen Zhengchen is suspected of committing a major crime. If he wasn't a murderer, who would be a murderer? Wen Zhengchen was interviewed when the police came, and bluntly said that he didn't know Sun Hirong. But according to the video, last night, Wen Zhengchen was talking and laughing with Sun Hirong, and they proposed to go to the drama together. If Wen Zhengchen is not suspicious, why are words contradictory? And the death time of the deceased Sun Hirong was between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock last night. It happened to be when Wen Zhengchen was watching the drama. During this time of death, Wen Zhengchen did not have sufficient proof of absence. No matter how you look at Wen Zhengchen, the suspicion is very big. At this time, in the cafe, Zhou Ziyan and the team members all looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stood in the corner of the cafe, looking up at the wall. Artistic messages left by customers and pictures are posted on the walls. Ning Cheng stared at the photo on the edge of the corner. The people in the photo above are not customers of the cafe. It was a group photo of Lu Shi, the female owner of the cafe, and Wen Zhengchen, the barista. In the photo, their fingers clasped together, rings on their ring fingers, and smiles on the corners of their mouths. In addition to them, there are two people in the photo, a man and a woman, dressed as waiters. The male waiter was the one in the cafe, and now the waitress is gone. Looking at this photo, I can answer many of the doubts in Ning Cheng's mind. The first is the question of the murderer. The real culprit is the female boss Lu Shi, there is nothing wrong. The reason is likely to be murder. Shown according to this photo. The state of female boss Lu Shi and barista Wen Zhengchen. The two of them are not just a boss-employer relationship, they may also be a couple. Because they both wear couple rings on the ring fingers of their palms. Lu Shi and barista Wen Zhengchen are in a relationship, so naturally they can't stand Wen Zhengchen going to flirt with girls. When Sun Hirong with a good face appeared in the coffee shop, Wen Zhengchen launched a pursuit of Sun Hirong, which aroused Lu Zai's hatred. In this way, Lu Zai's motive for murder is fully satisfied. Just why did Lu Shi put the suspicion on Wang Peng's head? Is this a misunderstanding, or intentional? Ning Cheng, why do you think the barista Wen Zhengchen is not the murderer? Zhou Ziyan frowned and asked, he's not the murderer, who do you think it is? The lady boss of the coffee shop, Lu Shi. Ning Cheng said directly without hiding it. She. Zhou Ziyan looked at Lu Shi, the female boss, and her pupils shrank instantly. Lu Shi is an ordinary person after all, and his body trembled when he heard Ning Cheng's words. Why do you think Lu Shi is the murderer? Zhou Ziyan asked. Ning Cheng did not explain, but instead asked, why do you think Wen Zhengchen is the murderer? You talk about yours first, I'm talking about my reasons. Zhou Ziyan didn't hide it, and said softly. According to the autopsy results of you and Director Chen, the deceased Sun Hirong had a fierce fight with the murderer before she died, resulting in broken nails and the deceased's DNA left in the nail gaps. Wen Zhengchen's neck has scars scratched by fingernails. I guess it should be scratched by the deceased Sun Hirong. As soon as Zhou Ziyan finished speaking, Wen Zhengchen immediately called him aggrieved. It was my neck itching, I scratched it myself, not Sun Hirong. Zhou Ziyan didn't speak and looked at Wen Zhengchen. Wen Zhengchen is actually right. The wound on his neck was indeed scratched by himself. Ning Cheng laughed dumbly and said, if I'm not wrong, Wen Zhengchen has allergic dermatitis, but he doesn't know it. Allergic dermatitis. Yes, allergic dermatitis is a skin disease caused by allergens. It mainly refers to skin diseases such as skin redness, itching, wheals, peeling, etc. caused by the human body's exposure to certain allergens. Ning Cheng continued. If he was scratched by Sun Hirong, there would not be so many red marks on his neck. Yes, I have allergic dermatitis. Wen Zhengchen said immediately. Zhou Ziyan was suddenly startled and stared at Ning Cheng in stunned eyes. I really did not expect that Ning Cheng could give such an explanation, which was irrefutable and convincing. Sure enough, barren knowledge limited her imagination. In front of Ning Cheng, she was like a rookie. Zhou Ziyan was a little angry and said, "What did Wen Zhengqian pursue Sun He wrong in the surveillance video? Wen Zhengqian didn't have sufficient alibi. This can't reduce Wen Zhengqian's suspicion, right? There is every reason to suspect that he killed Sun He wrong because of his emotions." Quote, "Wen Zhengqian killed Sun He wrong because of emotional entanglement, it makes sense." Ning Cheng nodded and looked at the female boss Lu Shi, but because of emotional entanglements, Lu Shi is also suspected of killing Sun He wrong. And has Zhou team ever asked about Lu Zai's alibi during that time? Coffee shop owner Lu Zai's alibi. The squad leader Zhou Ziyan understood what Ning Cheng meant, looked at the female boss Lu Shi, and asked, "Can you tell me where you were from 9 to 10 last night?" "I'm at home," the female owner of the coffee shop said without hesitation. "Who can prove it to you?" The female owner of the coffee shop shook her head and said, "This. I live alone, no one can prove it." "Where is the place of residence, is it a community, and is there surveillance nearby?" Zhou Ziyan asked rudely. "This." Lu Shi pondered for a while and said, "It seems that there is no surveillance." Zhou Ziyan, who is experienced in criminal investigation, immediately noticed that something was wrong with Lu Shi, and her eyes were full of suspicion. "Ning Cheng, since you say Lu Shi is suspected, what other basis is there other than an alibi?" "The basis is very simple." Ning Cheng glanced at the photo on the wall, took it down, and said, "Look at this photo. Based on the people in the photo, Team Zhou should be able to see that Lu Shi and barista Wen Zhengqian are a couple. Wen Zhengqian still has a couple ring with the same style as the photo on his ring finger." Quote, "When Zhou Ziyan first entered the coffee shop, she noticed that Wen Zhengqian would touch the ring finger ring when he was nervous. It's just that there is no ring on the ring finger of Lu Zai's hand." "Are you a couple?" Zhou Ziyan asked Wen Zhengqian. Wen Zhengqian hesitated. "This. Even if you don't say it now, our police can still find out. What you do now will only affect the progress of solving the case and increase your suspicion." Wen Zhengqian's body trembled, he was immediately startled, and immediately said, "Lu Shi and I are indeed a couple and are already engaged." This time, Zhou Ziyan suddenly realized that she looked at Lu Shi with suspicion. "Since you and Wen Zhengqian are a couple and are engaged, why don't you put your ring on today? Are you afraid that our police will know your couple's identity? The coffee shop owner Lu Shi is just an ordinary woman and does not have a strong heart." Hearing Zhou Ziyan's pressing question, Beite bit her cherry lips and looked at Wen Zhengqian with complicated eyes. Wen Zhengqian stared at this look, his heart suddenly trembled, and he said in a trembling voice, "Lu Shi, did you kill Sun He wrong?" "It's not me." Lu Shi gritted his teeth. "Look at Lu Zai's performance. Ning Cheng has been able to confirm the identity of Lu Zai's real murderer. Lu Shi, it's pointless to hide it any longer, why don't you just confess? Our police have found the murderer's flesh tissue from the crevices of the deceased Sun He wrong's nails. If there is no accident, we can extract the murderer's DNA." Ning Cheng continued, "And you and the deceased Sun He wrong had a fierce dispute on the bridge. Her nails once scratched you. As long as you extract your DNA and compare the two, you will quickly know whether you are the murderer. At this time, any refutation is very weak, because our police have real evidence." The female owner of the coffee shop, Lu Shi, was pale, her teeth were chattering, and her red eyes were looking at Ning Cheng and Zhou Ziyan. Ning Cheng didn't rush and stared at Lu Shi calmly. Zhou Ziyan and many members of the criminal police detachment did not speak. By this time, the case had gradually become clear. Lu Shi is probably the murderer. Even if she doesn't admit to murder, it doesn't matter. As long as the forensic department extracts DNA from the nails of the deceased Sun He wrong. Then extract Lu Zai's DNA and compare the two, and you can get an ironclad judgment. "I killed Sun He wrong," Lu Shi said in a trembling voice, his body collapsed to the ground as if he had lost his strength. Kill for life. She could face life imprisonment or the death penalty. The powerful fear made her body unable to straighten up. "Thank you so much for the acknowledgement." A smile appeared at the corner of Ning Cheng's mouth, looking at Lu Shi who fell to the ground, said gently, "So you confessed to killing Sun He wrong yourself?" Lu Shi, who was slumped on the ground, was taken aback and looked up at Ning Cheng. What do you mean? Didn't you say that the police have taken my fleshy tissue between Sun Hurong's nails and can extract DNA? Zhou Ziyan was also stunned, and looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. Watching the smile on Ning Cheng's mouth, a bold idea came to Zhou Ziyan's mind. At this moment, Zhou Ziyan's cell phone rang. Hey, Director Chen, why did you call me? Did you extract DNA from Sun Hurong's nails? No, came the loud voice of forensic expert Chen Chang from the other end of the phone. Sun Hurong's nails are broken. However, no flesh tissue of the murderer could be found from the cracks of the nails, let alone the murderer's DNA. Sun Hurong's body was soaked in water for more than 24 hours. Even if there were fingerprints, skin and other evidence left by the murderer, it would have been washed away by the river. The guy Ning Cheng is very thief. I saw that his autopsy was perfect, and I thought he really found the murderer's flesh and tissue in the crevice of the deceased's nails. I didn't expect to be stunned by him and tell that kid that his autopsy failed. On the other end of the phone, forensic expert Chen Chang was obviously very angry. Zhou Ziyan glanced at Ning Cheng with a smile on the corner of her mouth. Her mood was extremely complicated, and she said, Director Chen, Ning Cheng's autopsy did not fail. No failure, why? He has found the murderer, and the murderer confessed his crime in front of him. After speaking, Zhou Ziyan hung up the phone immediately. This moment, Lu Zai's eyes widened. The members of the detachment around Zhou Ziyan also widened their eyes and took a deep breath. They have figured out what it is all about. Gone. It's an inning. Ning Cheng's game against the murderer. Ning Cheng's voice fell softly. He stood there, attracting the attention of the audience. It's an inning. Ning Cheng's layout for the murderer. Also a layout for everyone. Even if Zhou Ziyan and the detachment members fell into the game, there was no exception. If in the autopsy, the murderer's flesh and blood samples were really found in the crevices of the deceased Sun Hurong's nails, then solving the case is easy. But actually, the corpse was soaked in river water for a long time. The deceased Sun Hurong sampled the skin and flesh of the murderer in the crevices of her nails. Talk about taking the killer's DNA. In order to solve the case as quickly as possible and arrest the murderer, Ning Cheng set up this game. At the time of the autopsy, with his superb and professional autopsy methods and blindfolding, Ning Cheng concealed the forensic director Chen from the past. I lied to Director Chen. It's easy to deceive these criminal police team members who don't understand forensic autopsy. At the same time, Ning Cheng also concealed the real murderer Lu Shi. This is a layout. The murderer was successfully defrauded by Ning Cheng. How efficient. In such a short period of time, without evidence, the situation can be reversed. In fact, even if the murderer's skin and flesh samples were not found on the deceased Sun Hurong, the police could still solve the case according to many methods. But it is nowhere near as fast and efficient as Ning Cheng's method. Zhou Ziyan's expression froze. The detachment members looked at Ning Cheng with shocked eyes. This layout can even fill the old rivers and lakes of their group of criminal police teams. What a shame. Ning Cheng at this apprenticeship stage is really bad. I'm sorry, the car didn't overturn in the case, but it was overturned by Ning Cheng. It's too bad. Who would dare to say that Ning Cheng has no experience in the future? Laozi was the first to refuse. Although this game is not complicated, the layout is quite level. The members of the detachment looked at each other, making eye contact, as if making eye contact. Why, even I have to hide it? Zhou Ziyan glared at Ning Cheng angrily, a little resentful and angry. She doesn't reject the murderer at all. It turns out that this method is good and efficient. Zhou Ziyan was angry that Ning Cheng planned, and even she had to hide it. Sorry, like this kind of thing, I think it's better for someone to know. Ning Cheng nodded apologetically and said, although Captain Zhou doesn't know the plan, it has put a lot of pressure on Lu Zai's psychology, isn't it? Without your coercion from Team Lu, Lu Shi would not have confessed in such a panic. HMPH, count you through. Zhou Ziyan snorted coldly. Her psychological praise for Ning Cheng was still very useful. If you dare to do this to me in the future, you will die. Ning Cheng smiled lightly and looked at Lu Shi. Is there anything else you want to say? Sun Hurong's fingernails don't have my tissue samples, so I can't extract my DNA. Lu Zai's face turned red, and he looked at Ning Cheng and said, This is just a layout for me. Yes, this is a layout for you. Ning Cheng nodded and said. But even without this bureau, it's not difficult for the police to solve the case and catch you. You've made too many loopholes in this case. You can catch me in other ways, why use this method? Lu Shi gritted his teeth tightly, his eyes filled with hatred towards Ning Cheng. If the police find other clues and evidence, she will be brought to justice. Lu Shi didn't have so much anger and complaints in his heart. But the police do not have sufficient evidence yet. It was her own crime that she confessed to herself, in other words, she herself sent herself into the hands of the police. She could hardly accept this cruel fact. Why lay it out to you, in this way? Ning Cheng looked at Lu Shi and said word by word, in order to protect people's lives and property safety, I think the most efficient and direct method can be used. Even if this method is cruel to the murderer. Lu Shi stared at Ning Cheng, the hatred in his eyes almost overflowing. Zhou Ziyan sighed in her heart, she actually agreed with Ning Cheng's philosophy. The most efficient way to solve the case can stop the next crime in time. After all, no one can guarantee that without Ning Cheng's layout. During the period when the police solve the case, in order to cover up the truth, will Lu Shi commit another crime and kill innocent people? To prevent the micro and the gradual, the danger should be stifled in the bud. Okay, this is not a place for interrogation, return everyone to the police station. Zhou Ziyan instructed the team to bring Lu Shi, barista Wen Zhengchen and another male waiter back to the police station. Ning Cheng looked at Lu Zai's back. Originally, he had a curiosity in his heart, why Lu Shi pushed the suspicion on the innocent Wang Peng. By now, Ning Cheng has gradually had a guess in his heart. Although you are off work now, do you want to go to the police station? Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng and said, after all, the case involves you, and you are the main investigator. Ning Cheng nodded and followed Zhou Ziyan back to the house. Then, the trial against Lu Shi and Wen Zhengchen started overnight. It's outrageous, you know, Ning Cheng solved the case again tonight and arrested a new murderer. What the hell, Ning Cheng solved the case again, what case? Zhangcheng West Lake District Hidao Sun Hirong's death case was originally a case led by the team leader Zhou Ziyan, but Ning Cheng intervened and broke it. I'll go, Ning Cheng dares to take Captain Zhou's case and pull his teeth out. Can Captain Zhou condone him? Captain Zhou's strong personality, how could he tolerate it, but Ning Cheng has the strength to solve the case faster than Captain Zhou. Breaking 3 cases in one day, Ning Cheng is going to break Zhangcheng's case-solving record. Ning Cheng, he's already supernaturally killed. When Zhou Ziyan brought the murderer Lu Shi and others back to the police station, the news spread, and the pot exploded in an instant. After writing the river drowning case, the comments and feedback were normal, so the next case was reshaped and the character Wang Peng was introduced, which seemed reasonable and smooth. In addition, the idea of this case is my upper book, you can know by looking at my author ID, there is no reference. I am also an old author of several books on Tianbang. The main purpose of this book is to make readers happy, to make myself happy, and to solve cases and puzzles. Trial room. A surprise interrogation took place overnight. Soon, Lu Shi, the female owner of the coffee shop, admitted the crime. He also described his motive for the murder and what happened. The reason for the murder of the coffee shop owner Lu Shi is very simple, because of emotional entanglement. The barista Wen Zhengchen, as Lu Zai's fiancé, has always been in love with him. But Wen Zhengchen is getting impatient and tired of her now. After Lu Zai's investigation, it turned out that Wen Zhengchen fell in love with the deceased Sun Hirong these days, and started a passionate pursuit. Compared with the beautiful Sun Hirong, Lu Shi has reached his 30s this year, and his appearance has gradually declined. When he found out that Wen Zhengchen was pursuing Sun Hirong, Lu Shi was moved to kill. The plan then quietly unfolded. Last night, Lu Shi invited the deceased Sun Hirong to the moon bridge in the river. The two negotiated frankly. Lu Shi disclosed to Sun Hirong that she was Wen Zhengchen's fiancé, asked Sun Hirong to leave, and refused Wen Zhengchen's pursuit. Sun Hirong did not reject the proposal, but made a request, asking Lu Shi to pay 100,000 in compensation. With this money, Sun Hirong can leave and reject Wen Zhengchen's pursuit. At that time, in Sun Hirong's view, Lu Shi, who owned a coffee shop, definitely had a lot of assets, and he could hand over the compensation. But only Lu Shi knew it in his own heart. The coffee shop is not well managed, and the book has already appeared in deficit, and even Lu Shi owes a lot of foreign debts. The two did not negotiate successfully. Lu Shi finally implemented his plan and pushed Sun Hurong down the river in the fierce battle. Zhou Ziyan looked at Lu Shi, who was crying while covering her face. She was extremely angry and asked, "It's obviously Wen Zhengchen pursuing Sun Hurong. Why don't you stop Wen Zhengchen and kill Sun Hurong instead? Wen Zhengchen and I are college classmates. We have been in a relationship for nearly 6 years. We have already gotten engaged in front of our family, and the coffee shop is now in deficit. I only have him now, and I can't lose him. I don't know if it was out of love, or face, or the huge cost invested in Wen Zhengchen." In the end, Lu Shi chose to stop Sun Hurong. In addition, Lu Shi also told Zhou Ziyan another thing about Wen Zhengchen. It is not the first time that Wen Zhengchen has been a scumbag. Once in a coffee shop, Wen Zhengchen pursued the waitress in the coffee shop. And different from Sun Hurong. That time Wen Zhengchen and the waiter broke through the substantive relationship. When he discovered this fact, Lu Shi was furious and wanted to separate from Wen Zhengchen, but he couldn't hold back Wen Zhengchen's bitter tears and repentance. In the end, Lu Shi forgave Wen Zhengchen and fired the waitress. After 2 years, Lu Shi and Wen Zhengchen became emotionally on the right track and got engaged under the witness of their relatives, friends and parents. But Lu Shi did not expect that Wen Zhengchen would make another mistake this time. This time, Lu Shi no longer wanted to work on Wen Zhengchen, but fortunately started to stop Sun Hurong. The anger makes people lose their minds, and Lu Shi, who is getting crazy, kills Sun Hurong. In addition, we learned from Wen Zhengchen's interrogation. Wen Zhengchen admitted that he had betrayed Lu Shi. He took a fancy to Sun Hurong's beautiful appearance, and he was getting tired of Lu Shi in his heart, so he began to pursue Sun Hurong. In his mouth, from the perspective of a scumbag, he made an evaluation of Sun Hurong. Wen Zhengchen doesn't think Sun Hurong is a fuel-efficient lamp. Petty bourgeoisie, Mu Chang, likes Western sentiment, likes to pretend to be elegant, but at heart is still money worship. What Wen Zhengchen hated most was that after pursuing for a long time, he didn't take advantage of Sun Hurong at all, but invested a lot of money and energy. The truth of this case is heartbreaking. Zhou Ziyan frowned secretly. This is not the first murder case that was caused by emotional problems in her energy. In recent years, with the intensification of gender conflicts in society, the number of homicides caused by emotional problems has been increasing. Ning Cheng, do you know why Lu Shi put the suspicion on your friend Wang Peng? After walking out of the interrogation room, Zhou Ziyan couldn't help but ask Ning Cheng. The corners of her mouth rose a little proudly. Lu Shi is Zhou Ziyan in charge of the interrogation, and Ning Cheng is the complex interrogator of Wen Zhengchen. Are you showing off to me? Ning Cheng laughed dumbly. Even if you don't say it, I know the reason. If I guessed correctly, Lu Shi put the suspicion on Wang Peng, probably thinking he looks like a scumbag. Wang Peng looks like a handsome guy, and he looks a bit like Wen Zhengchen. Ning Cheng sighed lightly and said, Lu Shi hated Wen Zhengchen in her heart, but due to various practical factors, she couldn't give up Wen Zhengchen, which led to her hatred of the scumbag Wen Zhengchen being passed on to Wang Peng. The pride on Zhou Ziyan's face gradually disappeared. The results of the original interrogation were all held in their mouths. You look like a scumbag too. Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng's handsome and outstanding appearance, and she didn't have a good air. Wen Zhengchen and Wang Peng are very good looking in the eyes of ordinary people. But compared to Ning Cheng, it's not worth mentioning at all. This year, appearance is justice. Even in the eyes of girls' face control fans, face value can cause crime. I don't know if Ning Cheng's looks will cause crimes in the future. Thank you Team Zhou, I'll take it as a compliment. Ning Cheng left with a smile and walked into the office of Director Zhang Chao. 3 cases were solved in one day, and even the director Zhang Chao had to attach great importance to meet Ning Cheng in person. Xiao Ning, you are going to be amazing. You solved 3 cases in one day, and even the city bureau noticed you. Do you know that I only asked you for merit in the morning? It turned out to be a 3rd-class merit, but now I have solved 3 cases and got a 2nd-class merit. Inside the office, Director Zhang Chao warmly received Ning Cheng. His eyes looked at Ning Cheng, full of admiration and eagerness. That enthusiastic attitude almost made Ning Chang a treasure. If you don't know that the director is nearly 50 years old, smart and bald, and has a wife and daughter at home. Ning Chang would have thought that Zhang Chao was caught in his charm and could not extricate himself. Heck, nowhere to hide the charm. It can not only attract girls to commit crimes, but also get promotions and salary increases. Thank you for the compliment, director, and I will do more in the future. Very good, Xiao Ning, if you have any requirements in the future, just mention it directly, and everything that can be satisfied will be satisfied. Since there is a talent like Ning Chang in the police station, the director Zhang Chao is not stingy at all, and is generous and satisfied. At this moment, there was a knock on the door for a while outside the office door of Director Zhang Chao. Please come in. Zhou Zian, the head of the criminal police detachment who came out of the door, walked in a hurry, holding a mobile phone in her hand. Director, our bureau has a hot news search. Zhang Chao asked. What news is trending, good or bad? Just look at it, it's also related to Ning Chang. Zhou Zian handed the phone to Zhang Chao and said. The hot search is about the murder of Sun Hirong in Hidao tonight. Someone slandered Ning Chang as the murderer and said that we were covering up Ning Chang. Zhang Chao, the director, took a look at the phone, and immediately his eyes narrowed. Hot search content. Darkness of dereliction of duty. The tragic death of the daughter, the 60-year-old parent's cry, and the police actually cover up the murderer. There is also a short video on the trending search. The content of the video is exactly when Sun Hirong's parents accused Ning Chang of being the murderer. When Ning Chang was questioned, the suspicion gradually increased. There are bursts of jitter and black screen on the video screen, obviously it was taken secretly. In addition, the video is cut from the beginning to the end, and the later clips where Ning Chang clears the suspicion are simply omitted. Comments below the video are unbelievable. The tragedy of human relations. The white-haired person sends the black-haired person, it's so miserable for the parents, but the police actually want to cover up the suspect. Lawlessness, there must be a shady scene here. Kill for life, recommend the death penalty. That suspect is so handsome, with sword eyebrows and star eyes, he doesn't look like a murderer, maybe there's something else hidden. 3 views follow Yanji, and the brains are upstairs. The popularity of comments under the hot search remains high. Although there are some rational netizens, they can be drowned in countless abuses and can't see much at all. How is this going? Zhang Chao looked unhappy, looked at Zhou Zian and said. As a detachment leader, you are also an old criminal police officer. You are investigating cases, but you don't know how to prevent people from taking pictures. This is interfering with the judicial process. If you can't stop the crowd by yourself, that's fine, but you brought a team of 12 people to the crime scene, why can't you do it? As the detachment leader, I have an inescapable responsibility, and I am willing to take it. Zhou Zian blushed and lowered her head slightly. It's true that she didn't take care of it. When the people in the incident took pictures, she immediately sent someone up to stop them, but she didn't expect that someone would hide their mobile phones in private for private pictures. How do you take it? The director did not lose his anger, and said directly, if the reputation of Comrade Ning Chang is damaged, you must make a demerit. Director, don't be angry, the situation at the scene was complicated, and Captain Zhou didn't expect anyone to record it privately. Ning Chang knew that this incident was not Zhou Zian's main responsibility. At that time, she sent someone to stop it at the first time, but no one was found to be hiding for private shooting. This problem, in the final analysis, lies with the person who took the private photo. Ning Chang just saw that the anchor who posted the hot search was the female anchor He Chiumin who had a blind date with him. Posting this video of the head and tail, He Chiumin is probably trying to get revenge on Ning Chang. In this case, Ning Chang would not let that He Chiumin go. Although he has only met He Chiumin once, he has a handle on He Chiumin. Just when Zhang Chao and Zhou Zian were talking, the female police officer from the technology section came over and handed over the video channel. According to Team Zhou's instructions, the video of Comrade Ning Chang clearing his suspicions has been extracted. Director, this video is enough to restore the truth of the matter. Zhou Zian took the phone and said, plus the video record of Lu Zai's confession, it is enough to clarify the whole case. Zhang Chao, the director, only learned the information of Ning Chang's autopsy and solved the case through communication. Now after watching the whole video, I immediately exclaimed how awesome, stood up, and kept patting Ning Cheng on the shoulder. Good boy, you actually understand forensic autopsy, you are really versatile. Integrate and edit the video of Ning Cheng's clearing of suspicion and Lu Zai's confession, send it to the city bureau, and use the official account to let them clarify the first time. Yes, Zhou Ziyan immediately followed Zhang Chao's instructions. The city bureau attached great importance to it, edited the content right away, and released a video titled, Heroes, Not to be Slandered. After doing so, Zhou Ziyan still felt pissed. The female internet celebrity He Chiuman's framed accusation of Ning Cheng. Not only a slander of Ning Cheng, but a slander of the entire People's Police Force. They fight to protect the safety of people's lives and property from threats. How can female internet celebrities be framed at will? Heroes, not to be slandered. She must pay the price. Ning Cheng, it is my responsibility to let you criticize the internet. I will not shirk it. After the matter is over, I will apologize to you. Zhou Ziyan came to Ning Cheng and said sincerely. But the development of this matter is not only about your image, but also the image of our Zhangcheng police. As the subject of the slander, you have the right to file a lawsuit against the female internet celebrity He Chiuman. Do you want to file a lawsuit? If we want to sue, we can summon He Chiuman to the police station. Of course, Ning Cheng understood what Zhou Ziyan meant and smiled. Of course, if you want to sue, I will trouble Captain Zhou to go and summon her to the police station. Also, while Captain Zhou brings He Chiuman, you can pay attention to her room. I suspect that she is hiding contraband. What contraband? Zhangcheng University. The evening self-study has just ended. Shen Xinyi went to the school's gym for exercise. As one of the well-known beautiful girls in the school, Shen Xinyi understood her strengths very early, so she manages her body every day. During the exercise, boys and girls all turned their attention to Shen Xinyi. For girls, Shen Xinyi has a graceful body. She exercises very well in fitness exercises. She looks very temperamental and enviable. Looking at Shen Xinyi's attractive figure, the boys all expected to be Shen Xinyi's boyfriend. After the exercise, Shen Xinyi returned to her dormitory to take a bath. After taking a bath, Shen Xinyi is like a hibiscus out of water, without her delicate makeup, but she is extremely pure and moving. Xinyi, you are getting more and more beautiful, even we can't hold it after watching it for a long time. The roommate made a joke of Shen Xinyi. As a well-known beauty in our school, Xinyi, the person you are pursuing can circle around the school several times, and you really don't think about finding someone to find a boyfriend. We are already senior year, and we will pass without looking for youth. Hearing the word boyfriend object, Ning Cheng's face suddenly flashed into Shen Xinyi's mind. When she was kidnapped by the murderer that day, Shen Xinyi almost didn't collapse. But Ning Cheng rescued her in time and pulled her back before the gate of hell closed. Since then, Ning Cheng has left an indelible mark on her heart. No interest, they are all naive ghosts. Shen Xinyi shook her head and replied lazily. Naive, there are always mature men among the boys chasing you, right? The roommate asked. Shen Xinyi shook her head, not wanting to pay attention to it. There are many mature people who pursue her, but compared to Ning Cheng, it is very naive. They are either showing off their wealth, showing off their achievements, or dancing and drinking. How can they compare with Ning Cheng, who is more attractive than Ning Cheng? And staying by Ning Cheng's side, Shen Xinyi can feel a unique sense of security. She loves that feeling. Xiaoling, don't ask, looking at Xinyi's state, I'm afraid she has a sweetheart. The roommate's teasing and banter still didn't make Shen Xinyi's waves. Shen Xinyi is a girl who dares to love and hate. She does not deny that she has a good impression of Ning Cheng and likes it. But the problem is, Ning Cheng ignored her at all. HMPH, straight man. Shen Xinyi snorted softly in her heart and brushed her scarf to pass the time. Suddenly, she saw a hot search about police sheltering suspects. Because Ning Cheng is a police officer, Shen Xinyi is also interested in current affairs that are not usually paid attention to. But what surprised Shen Xinyi was that the police officer involved in the hot search was actually Ning Cheng. How could Ning Cheng possibly cover up the suspect? After Shen Xinyi watched the video under the hot search, she didn't believe that Ning Cheng would be the so-called murderer. HMPH, a small internet celebrity with only 30,000 followers dares to slander Ning Cheng. I want to make you look good. Shen Xinyi simply couldn't tolerate small internet celebrities slandering Ning Cheng casually, so she quit the scarf and landed on the tuba. Although she is still a famous student, Shen Xinyi has her own career. She is a beauty blogger and has over 10 million fans in her scarf. After thinking for a moment, Shen Xinyi decided to send out the video she had kept privately. This video is a video of Shen Xinyi being kidnapped by the murderer Zhao Tianfeng. After Ning Cheng rescued Shen Xinyi, the police asked the onlookers to delete the hijacked video in order to avoid the expansion of influence and interfere with the investigation and justice. But money can make ghosts run the mill, and Shen Xinyi spent a lot of money to buy the missed videos. Conversion of black and white, shameless, hero, not to be slandered, not to be defiled. At this time, Shen Xinyi became more and more angry when she thought of He Chiuman's video. At the same time as the video was released, it was accompanied by an explosive copy, which directly responded to He Chiuman. As a big internet celebrity with tens of millions of fans, Shen Xinyi's scarf immediately aroused great enthusiasm. Countless fans and passers-by were attracted, and after watching the video and copywriting posted by Shen Xinyi, I immediately understood what was going on. It's too dangerous. I didn't expect Xinyi to be kidnapped. It's terrifying. Xinyi has suffered such a terrible thing. If the little policeman hadn't rescued him, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The little brother of the police is not chaotic in the face of danger, it is too strong. That little internet celebrity named He Chiuman turned black and white, it's shameless. As a technician, I can see at a glance that the video has been edited and edited. It's unimaginable that that little brother was maliciously attacked and slandered by a small internet celebrity. The little brother of the police is so handsome, Justice Ling ran, how could he cover up the suspect? Shen Xinyi's video made countless fans and passers-by have a great impression of Ning Cheng, and they all stood up for Ning Cheng. And countless netizens rushed to He Chiuman's comment area to match up with ignorant netizens. Because of Shen Xinyi's participation, the event became more and more popular. Just at this time, Zhongcheng's official account released the complete process of Ning Cheng's clearing of Wang Peng's suspicions, as well as the confession video of the murderer Liu Shi. As more and more case details are revealed to the public. After watching the official video, especially knowing that Ning Cheng is the one who solved the murder, the phishing reels on the internet are completely reversed. Although, it turns out that little brother is a policeman, and he solved the river murder case. It was me who blamed the policeman in the wrong way. I didn't expect that I was fooled by the maliciously edited video. I sincerely apologize to the policeman, and greet the He Chiuman family by the way, NMSL. As a forensic doctor, although I can't see the specific autopsy process of the policeman, I have to say it. The results of the autopsy by the policeman are all correct, and there is no mistake at all. Now, there are fewer and fewer criminal policemen who are proficient in forensic skills. Their professional quality is excellent, and they are cheating. Quote, to clear the suspicion of innocent people, then to solve the murder case and catch the murderer, such a policeman is indeed the protector of the people. The phishing reel completely fell towards Ning Cheng. Now watch the video of Ning Cheng rescuing Shen Xinyi. Countless people are full of admiration and gratitude. As an ordinary person, everyone wants to meet a police officer like Ning Cheng, who is calm, and extremely responsible when he is in danger, when he is kidnapped. Ning Cheng is getting more and more popular, and the heat is rising rapidly. Phishing reels are twisted on the web. Seeing this result, Shen Xinyi in the dormitory couldn't help but jump for joy. Xinyi, you look very happy. The roommate noticed the smile on Shen Xinyi's mouth. Is it that obvious? Of course it's obvious. Did someone you like send you a message? The roommate teased. Where is it? Don't talk nonsense, I just saw a very interesting scarf. Shen Xinyi smiled and said, in that scarf, the boy looks very handsome. Handsome, Xinyi, there are quite a few handsome boys who are chasing you, and some of them can make their debut. But he's far from being so handsome, and he can't even reach the slightest point. That person completely abused them. Such a handsome guy, can Xinyi share with us? No, the food can be shared, but the handsome guy can only enjoy it alone. There was a burst of laughter in the dormitory. At the same time, He Chiumin is also paying attention to the most searched phishing reels. When I saw the official public disclosure of the complete video, as well as all the details of the case, the phishing reel was completely reversed. He Chiumin's face turned red and he was furious. All she knew was that Ning Cheng was a policeman. But he didn't know that Ning Cheng was very skilled, rescued hostages, and possessed a strong ability to solve cases. This series was something He Chiumin could not have imagined. However, He Chiumin did not regret doing this. Even when the phishing reel fell on Ning Cheng, countless netizens attacked her. He Chiumin also did not regret much. Because of the rise in hot searches, it brought her huge traffic. Black and red are also red, and many people paid attention to her because of this. The internet changes very quickly. After a while, not many people know what she has done. Instead, she has gained a lot of fans, which can be used to bring goods and sell advertisements. Knock knock. Just then, there was a knock on the door of the apartment. Who is it that you still come here at night? He Chiumin was in a bad mood and went to open the door scoldingly. But just as she opened the door, her face changed drastically. He Chiumin recognized the woman in front of him. Zhou Zian is the female police officer who handled the Evening River murder case. More than an hour later, Zhou Zian brought the female anchor He Chiumin back to the police station. There were also boxes of weight loss pills that were similar to drugs that were brought back to the police station. He Chiumin was detained and entered the interrogation room, where he was questioned by a special person. Zhou Zian came to Ning Cheng's side and asked curiously. He Chiumin has been arrested and will be dealt with in accordance with the crime of defamation, slandering the police, enough for her to squat in. It's just that I'm surprised. How did you know that He Chiumin was hiding a lot of diet pills containing sibutramine? This afternoon, you and He Chiumin had a blind date only once. Before going to He Chiumin's residence, Ning Cheng informed Zhou Zian that He Chiumin's house might have sibutramine diet pills hidden. Sibutramine is a contraband drug in China that can be used to suppress appetite, control weight and lose weight. But the drug is banned globally, including domestically. Because sibutramine acts on the central nervous system, although it has a certain weight loss effect, it may cause side effects such as high blood pressure and increased heart rate, and in severe cases, it can cause death. Even one time is enough to judge a lot of clues. Ning Cheng recalled the meeting scene with He Chiumin and said, first of all, when He Chiumin and I met, he carried expensive luxury goods with him. For example, a Hermes handbag, a Chanel scarf, and a Patek Philippe watch on my hand. According to my observations, those are all genuine. Before the blind date, I got He Chiumin's family information. Her parents are both working class, so it's not enough for her to spend so much. Furthermore, I checked He Chiumin's information and online account online. Her total number of fans on the internet is only 200,000, and her consumption is not enough to reach such a level. So, you suspect that the source of her funds is unknown. Zhou Zian stared at Ning Cheng and smiled softly. But He Chiumin, as a female anchor, is engaged in such a special profession, maybe there will be local tyrants to take care of her. Your guess is possible, but it is inferred that she sells diet pills containing sibutramine. I have verified it, not random guessing. Ning Cheng took out his mobile phone, opened his scarf, and said calmly. I rummaged through He Chiumin's scarf, and in the scarf of her account, I saw several pieces of information about selling diet pills. The information on these diet pills is unclear and very suspicious. With a skeptical attitude, I spent some money to enter He Chiumin's fan group and got pictures of diet pills. It's just this picture. This weight loss drug is a 3-no product, and there is no information such as the manufacturer's address or production date. Based on this, I can judge that He Chiumin has a ghost. However, sibutramine's diet pill involves huge interests and an industrial chain. I guess He Chiumin is just a seller in the middle link. If you want to catch big fish, you have to wait. Zhou Zian has held her breath, looking at Ning Cheng with complicated eyes. I have to say, Ning Cheng's ability to search for clues is truly amazing. Keen observation can always find evidence in the subtleties. Since Ning Cheng was able to unearth He Chiumin's many clues with one side, he could also find her clues. Zhou Zian quietly moved the watch in her hand behind her. Ning Cheng noticed the action, smiled slightly, and didn't expose it. What are you laughing at? Did you see it? Zhou Zian asked angrily. I saw it earlier. Ning Cheng opened his mouth and whispered, Patek Philippe Women's Star Watch, can sell a suite in Zhongcheng. Your eyes are so vicious. Seeing Ning Cheng see through, Josie unfortunately did not hide it, saying, He Chiuman's video is my responsibility, and I am willing to apologize to you. It's okay, Team Joe, it's enough to catch He Chiuman. Our purpose is the same, to protect the safety of people's property. No, the responsibility is mine. If you don't accept my apology, then I'll treat you to a meal. Quote. Chapter 31. Hey, why is there such a big gap between people? When Josian chatted with Ning Cheng, she envied a group of new trainees around her. Ning Cheng can solve 3 cases in one day, we can't even see one case. What is Ning Cheng's treatment? Chatting and laughing with police flower Josian, we're hard at work. Wu, who said no, I'm going to report Ning Cheng for cheating. The new trainee on duty looked at the single dog beside him, and then looked at the police flower Josian beside Ning Cheng, and wanted to bang his head against the wall. An old Zhonghu said, You guys still underestimate Ning Cheng. Why did you underestimate Ning Cheng? The new trainee asked curiously. Just now, Ning Cheng almost solved another case. Do you know He Chiuman who framed Ning Cheng? Team Zhou led the team, summoned He Chiuman in person, and found a large amount of sibutramine diet pills in her room. This stuff is contraband. According to the news from the interrogation room, He Chiuman gathered fans to resell diet pills containing sibutramine, which is suspected of a huge industrial chain. Now that the case has been handed over to the economic investigation, if this industry chain is dug up, Ning Cheng's credit will be indispensable. Team Zhou found the sibutramine diet pill at He Chiuman's house. What does it have to do with Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng told her that He Chiuman might resell sibutramine diet pills. The man smiled faintly and said, Ning Cheng met He Chiuman before. After seeing He Chiuman, you can tell the news about sibutramine, that's outrageous. It's more than outrageous, I'm going to mess with Ning Zhe in the future. Zhou Zian invited Ning Cheng to dinner. After thinking about it, Ning Cheng agreed. But the day is set for the next day, because tomorrow both sides have vacation. Back in his community, Ning Cheng did not go home directly, but went to the garage to take a look at the Maybach rewarded by the system. There is no boy who is not interested in luxury cars. Ning Cheng likes luxury cars very much, and drove the Maybach for a good ride around Zhongcheng. The Maybach was not driven back to the garage until the mood was vented. In addition to this Maybach luxury car reward, Ning Cheng also has a system reward of 3 million in cash and a trend chart of a shares for the next week. Although he doesn't know much about the stock market, he can always gain a lot with the trend chart of A shares in the coming week. If you earn enough money, you can change a house. Ding! Congratulations to the host for cracking the death case of Sun Hirong. You can get the following rewards. Reward 1. World-class vehicle driving experience. Reward 2. The trend of Hong Kong stocks in the coming week. As soon as I drove the Maybach, I immediately gained world-class driving experience, which felt pretty good. The trend of Hong Kong stocks in the coming week is similar in nature to A shares. They are all rewards for making money and can be used to make money. When they got home, Ning Cheng's mother didn't sleep. I just came back, what happened to Sun Hirong's case? Mother Ning looked at Ning Cheng aggressively. It seems to be clear what happened on the scarf today. Ning Cheng didn't hide his mother's thoughts, he said everything. He also explained He Chiuman's situation, and then joked. Mom, will you introduce me to a blind date in the future? First a blind date died, and then another one was sent in by me. You can't let me go on a blind date now, can you? You unconscionable, I'm not worried about you when I let you go on a blind date. The mother, Lu Mei, sighed, she would have nothing to do with such a son anyway. What are you worried about me? I haven't thought about getting married at all now, and I want to find a girlfriend. Do you think I'll be short? Mother Lu Mei said earnestly, a lot of girls are unreliable now. As you can see, blind date objects are not very reliable. Hey, I can't help you when I meet you. You can find it yourself in the future, and don't care. Ning Cheng smiled dumbly as he watched his mother get up and leave to go to the room. His mother Lu Mei is not a stubborn person, she just cares about him. After going through this kind of thing, his mother might look away. At noon the next day, Ning Cheng came to the place where he and Josian met according to the agreement. This is a Western-style seafood restaurant. The decoration looks very elegant and stylish, and the price consumption will definitely not be low. Ning Cheng has no psychological burden. He invested funds in the stock market last night and made more than 500,000 overnight. He was not afraid of any consumption at all, not to mention that Josian invited him. Ning Cheng, here you are, here. Josian walked slowly towards Ning Cheng. It is different from the sassy and heroic figure who usually wears a police uniform in the past. Josian in the restaurant was wearing a long snow-colored dress with purple lace trims around her waist, with a gentle and dignified temperament. The guests and host enjoyed this meal, both of them ate very comfortably, and there was no second-generation rich and young to disturb them. After eating, Josian offered to walk. Ning Cheng had nothing to do, but luckily went shopping with Josian. Not long after, Josian stopped in a fashion store. Would you like to go in and have a look? Okay. Ning Cheng could sense that Josian seemed to have brought him here on purpose. It may be due to the failure of the last Hechiuman incident. As a result, Josian wanted to compensate by buying clothes for Ning Cheng. This one suits you very well, Ning Cheng, you are a natural clothes hanger, so handsome. All the clothes that Ning Cheng tried on, Josian was all wrapped up, and her eyes were staring at Ning Cheng, shining with brilliance. There was nothing wrong with her words. Ning Cheng is indeed a natural clothes hanger, and when he wears those high-end fashions, he simply kills models and stars. Since you're here, why don't you pick some clothes? Ning Cheng suggested. 2. Josian felt that Ning Cheng's proposal was good, and decided to try a few clothes that she liked. But when she went to the front desk to pay the bill, Josian found out that Ning Cheng had already paid for it. These clothes add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, can Ning Cheng afford it? Josian looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. She found that Ning Cheng's strength in other areas also seemed to be far beyond her imagination. Hey, you look so good in these clothes, no movie actress is as beautiful as you. My sister's figure is really super good, and our clothes really match her figure perfectly. In the mall center, many salesmen praised Josian. Especially when Ning Cheng paid the bill. Many salespeople looked at Josian with envious eyes. I originally thought that Ning Cheng was the little white face who was taken care of by Josian. Unexpectedly, they all looked away. In the end, when Ning Cheng swiped the card lightly, the heroic charm was simply overwhelming. You must know that the consumption of Ning Cheng and Josian is as high as hundreds of thousands, which is equivalent to the annual income of ordinary people. If they can afford the bills in the blink of an eye, they must be rich in consumption. Ning Cheng is very handsome and rich, and he is willing to spend money on Josian. He is completely a hero. Let's go, where are you still doing? Ning Cheng looked at Josian, who was stunned, and smiled. Don't you like those clothes? But I already bought them. No, I like the clothes. Josian followed Ning Cheng out of the luxury store and chuckled lightly. It seems that I underestimated you, you are worth a lot. It's okay, but I can't compare with you. The Patek Philippe on your wrist is worth a sweet. That was given by my relatives, and I didn't earn it. Josian murmured, staring at Ning Cheng's handsome face, her heart pounding. Ning Cheng's appearance is very high. When shopping in reality, every time a girl turns around and looks at Ning Cheng. Why do you want to do this job? Josian suddenly asked. If you go to other industries, can you realize your value faster? What about you? Your family is so rich, why do you want to engage in this profession? Even though Ning Cheng couldn't find out Josian's family background. But with the Patek Philippe on Josian's wrist, you can vaguely guess that Josian's family must be rich or expensive. Because I like it, Josian said directly. It's a coincidence that I also love it. Ning Cheng and Josian looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. Do not know why. Josian had an inexplicable feeling in her heart. It's not that he fell in love with Ning Cheng, but that he and Ning Cheng are the same kind of people and have the same feeling. Ning Cheng, should we be friends? It should be. I am honored to have Zhou Jinghua's friendship. What should it be? Josian stuck out her tongue angrily, and said angrily, Ning Cheng, I will definitely not lose to you next time to solve the case. I'm afraid there is no such opportunity. Ning Cheng smiled and then sent Josian to the car. Josian's car is a Porsche, which looks luxurious and cool. In normal work, Zhou would not drive such a flamboyant car, but on leisure holidays, Zhou exposed by Fumei's nature. Ning Cheng didn't want to explore Zhou family background, and sent Zhou to the car with a calm face. On the contrary, Zhou, watching Ning Cheng's calm expression, trembled in her heart. Good guy, calm enough, I don't know if it's pretending or not. At this time, Zhou was full of curiosity about Ning Cheng. Ordinary colleagues see the Patek Philippe and sports car in her hands, and if they want to pursue them at the first time, they will be nervous. But Ning Cheng didn't waver, he didn't even ask her. Why is Ning Cheng so calm? Zhou sighed. Sometimes, Ning Cheng is really like a mystery that makes people curious and want to find out. After the rest day, Ning Cheng returned to work, maintaining his usual rhythm. Ning Cheng, you are on fire in the bureau, do you want me, the old leader? Lu Rong, the head of the security detachment, found Ning Cheng with a smile on his face and a bit of complexity in his eyes. When Ning Cheng was a new trainee, he was the first to discover it and was brought to the security team. Originally, I thought that the gold Ning Cheng would be silent for a while and it would glow. But be quiet, good guy, it's only been a few days, and 3 major cases have been solved in a row. The city bureau has noticed Ning Cheng, and they have to award second-class merit. Second-class merit, he didn't even get it. Captain, what did you say? Ning Cheng knew that Lu Rong, the leader of the detachment, had something to explain. If you have something, please explain it, you're welcome. Then I'm welcome. Lu Rongdao. The team is temporarily short of manpower. Now there are many people in the bureau. There is a haunt in Wanggang village on the outskirts of Zhongcheng. Haunted? How is it possible? Ning Cheng is a staunch atheist and doesn't believe in any ghosts and gods. He questioned. I'm afraid there are people here who are pretending to be ghosts, right? Yes, I also suspect that someone in Wanggang village is pretending to be a ghost. I want you and Lao Zhang to go check it out. What kind of moth is there? Okay, no problem. Ning Cheng agreed. Thank you so much, let's have a drink together next time. Team Lu patted Ning Cheng on the shoulder politely, laughed and said. It is estimated that your days in the security team are not long. Have you decided to go to that criminal investigation team? I got news that you are in high demand right now, and soon, the captains of their criminal investigation detachment will be robbing people. Also think about it. That's fine. Lu Rong called Zhang Junkai over and said. Old Zhang, you and Ning Cheng go to Wanggang village on the outskirts to see what's going on, remember to bring your gun. Bring a gun, old Zhang Junkai said strangely. Isn't it necessary? There are no real ghosts in the world. Although there are no ghosts in the world, sometimes people are more poisonous than ghosts. Be careful to make the Wanian ship and bring a gun safety point. Lu Rong solemnly reminded. Ning Cheng is not qualified to be equipped with guns now. You are an old man, pay attention to protect him. If you can't bear it, withdraw, don't be arrogant. After explaining the matter, Zhang Junkai and Ning Cheng drove to Wanggang village on the outskirts of Zhongcheng. It's this village, it feels foggy, it's like a ghost movie. The police car broke through the muddy road. Zhang Junkai looked at the bungalow village covered by the gray fog ahead, and made a joke. Ning Cheng, are you afraid? In movies and TV series, police officers like us who don't understand the situation are often given away. Old Zhang, you may give away people, but not me. Ning Cheng got out of the car and joked too. Wanggang village. Ning Cheng's eyes moved slightly, looking at this haunted village from afar. The entire Wanggang village gives people a half-new and half-old feeling. The house in front is a newly built rural bungalow with 2 or 3 floors. It looks very new and has a good style. However, the houses behind the village are very old. A damp feeling. The top of Wanggang village was shrouded in a layer of mist and gray. With a layer of spookiness. It's really a good place for a ghost movie. Xiao Ning, do you see anything? Zhang Junkai ordered a wazi, leaned on the car, squinted and twitched. Ning Cheng solves 3 major cases in a day, and his brain is very good. Fortunately, Zhang Junkai listened to Ning Cheng's instructions and positioned himself as a force responsible. I don't see any tricks. It's a very ordinary village. It seems that the young people have left, leaving behind the children and the elderly. I think so too, but why does it feel cold here, and there is a gray fog covering the village? This village is close to the mountain, and there is a river passing through it when I drive here, and the water vapor naturally permeates. Will it be that simple? Zhang Junkai said with a smile while playing the ashtray. You still believe in those dirty things? Ning Cheng said with a speechless smile. Don't drive in the police car, take off the police uniform and change into plain clothes, you may touch more ghosts. Row. Zhang Junkai did as Ning Cheng said, and only entered the village after the two of them were all sorted out. Wanggang village is a typical village for left-behind children and the elderly. Ning Cheng and Zhang Junkai hardly saw any young people. The youngest is only an old man in his 50s. Master, I heard that your Wanggang village is haunted, is it true? Walking into the village, Ning Cheng found an uncle who was squatting at the door smoking a hookah, and handed a Chinese child to ask. It's haunted, and the ghosts will haunt at night, it's scary. The uncle surnamed Lu took the cigarette and said with a look of fear, I advise you out-of-towners to leave, don't join in the fun. We didn't plan to join in the fun, just curious, can you tell us about the situation? Zhang Junkai gave the remaining package of wazi to the old man. Hey, if you want to know, then I won't hide it from you. Uncle Lu recalled. Last month, in the early hours of the morning, I heard the dogs barking in the yard, and I saw a very terrifying picture. There were two ghosts in the air. What kind of ghost? Ning Cheng asked. Don't dare to look at it, I was so scared that I lost half my life. Uncle Lu's hands trembled, and he said tremblingly, it seems to be two ghosts, one is a blood-red ghost, and the other is a pale ghost. Have the other villagers seen ghosts? When did the haunting start and where did it often occur? Quote. A few of them have met. The haunting probably started on the 10th of last month, and it's been another month and a half now. Uncle Lu was reluctant to smoke a good cigarette and took a sip of the water pipe. The most haunted place is the ancestral house at the back of the village, which is very mysterious. There are several statues and spiritual places in the ancestral house. Since the haunted place, there has been no mobile phone signal in that place, and the radio will be rustling, and the worst thing is that there will be blood on the walls there, scaring people to death. There are a few young people from other places who don't believe in evil like you, but after staying in the ancestral house for a whole night, they saw ghosts, and when they woke up, they found themselves in the cemetery. Suddenly, Zhang Junkai asked, such a weird place is still haunted, didn't you call the police? What's the use of calling the police? Uncle Lu took a cigarette and said disdainfully, the police can only arrest criminals, how can they arrest ghosts? Single quote. If we call the police, what if those ghosts want to kill us? Let's go. After asking a few more questions, Ning Cheng motioned Zhang Junkai to leave. After the two left, they walked towards the village's ancestral house. These old guys are too superstitious. Zhang Junkai said angrily. If it wasn't for the frightened young Alice friends who called the police, we wouldn't know about this now. It's normal for villagers to be superstitious when they are old, but young people don't believe in evil after all. Ning Cheng pondered, but the confessions of the young donkey friends and the villagers are completely correct. There is no signal in the ancestral house. The two ghosts I can see. The walls of the ancestral house at the back of the village see blood. If they stay in the ancestral house, they will fall asleep and appear in the cemetery after waking up. Xiao Ning, what do you think is hidden here? Zhang Junkai asked. The ghost image must be fake. Is the wall seeping blood, and woke up in a coma and appeared in the cemetery? These mysterious phenomena are not important, we must see the essence through the phenomena. Ning Cheng said. If there were ghosts, the young people who called the police would definitely not be alive. Why let those young people live? It's nothing more than fear that things will get bigger and we will be punished by the police. Quote. Now this news is spreading on a small scale, I think someone should be making a fuss about being haunted to cover up an important purpose. What's the purpose of covering up? I don't know this for the time being, I'll know when I go to that ancestral house. The village is not big, and soon Ning Cheng and Zhang Junkai came to the ancestral house of Wanggang village. Old Zhang, do you feel the fragrance? Ning Cheng stopped at the entrance of the ancestral house and said, it smells like burning incense candles. The villagers said that it's not the statues of gods, it's normal to offer incense to the statues. Ning Cheng glanced up at the ancestral house. Most of the walls of the ancestral house in Wanggang village are surrounded by wooden structures, which seem to have a history of hundreds of years. Walking into the ancestral house, you can see 3 statues of gods with green faces and red hair enshrined inside, with big eyes like copper bells, solemn and solemn. However, the surroundings are cold, and staying here feels more and more strange. In addition, the side of the ancestral house is the structure of the mourning hall, which enshrines densely packed spiritual tablets. Under the light of the beating candles, it is extremely dark. What are you doing now? Although Zhang Zhengkai is a staunch atheist, in such an environment, goosebumps could not help but appear on the surface of his body. It's 8 p.m. now. That's just right, doesn't Li Gui just like to haunt at night, so just stay. Ning Cheng chuckled lightly and found that the mobile phone had no signal in the ancestral house. Still here, Zhang Zhengkai swallowed. Old Zhang, you've been a police officer for more than 10 years, shouldn't you be afraid? Who said Laozi is afraid? Just wait, even if there is a ghost, Laozi can destroy him. Zhang Zhengkai's voice increased a few degrees, and Dama sat on the wooden chair in front of the spiritual seat. Ning Cheng didn't sit down, but looked around the ancestral house to check if there were any organs. Those weird phenomena, he didn't believe it at all. It is actually not difficult to create those phenomena, such as cell phone signal shielding, just put a high-power shield. 2 hours in a row. Nothing happened in the ancestral home. Until a few dogs barked outside, Zhang Zhengkai suddenly stood up and looked around. Xiao Ning, have you noticed that the door outside the ancestral house is locked? I see. Ning Cheng handed the gas mask prepared in advance to Zhang Zhengkai, and said solemnly, put it on. What's going on? Zhang Zhengkai asked in surprise. The smell in the house has changed, it's not the original smell, it has a dizzying effect. Zhang Zhengkai's expression changed, and he immediately understood the seriousness of the problem. If it wasn't for Ning Cheng who discovered this problem, I'm afraid he would really capsize in the gutter today. Zhang Zhengkai immediately put on a gas mask, imitated Ning Cheng, and fell to the ground. It didn't take long for Ning Cheng and Zhang Zhengkai to see such a spectacle. Blood was seeping around the walls of the ancestral house in Wanggang village. At the same time, the door to the ancestral house opened with a bang. With a strong wind blowing in, 2 groups of ghosts entered the door. A scarlet blood coat, a pale snow coat. Wanggang village ancestral home. A gloomy wind blew in. The 2 ghost shadows stretched extraordinarily long on the ground. Ning Cheng lay on the ground, looked out of the corner of his eyes, and noticed that the so-called ghost was clearly a human being. Both the red-clothed ghost and the white-clothed ghost are dressed up by people, each with terrifying ghost makeup, which looks scary in the dark night. Big Head, how many times is this already? The red-clothed ghost asked aloud. The white-clothed ghost named Big Head said, it's already the 3rd wave. If things go on like this, sooner or later things will be exposed, and that's a bad thing. Don't worry, in another week, the things in the factory will be removed, and you won't need to do these things in the future. Ning Cheng and Zhang Zhengkai pretended to be in a coma, and they heard all the conversations clearly, and they immediately became suspicious. Things transfer. What are these people pretending to be, trying to transfer something? The value must be expensive, and it is illegal and cannot be known to the outside world. After meeting these conditions, Ning Cheng immediately thought of drugs. Only drugs can make people take risks and do this kind of thing. In addition, drug production, dealers, and drug storage must choose a hidden place. A sparsely populated place like Wanggang village is very suitable. Okay, carry these 2 people to the graveyard. It's so deadly, if it weren't for the fact that I couldn't kill people, I really wanted to kill these 2 guys and keep me from sleeping. The white-clothed ghost whimpered angrily, reaching out to grab Ning Cheng's shoulder. But when he looked close to Ning Cheng, he suddenly found that Ning Cheng turned around on the ground with a mask on his face. Beneath the mask, a pair of sharp eyes were staring at him, causing him to be terrified and stunned for a few seconds. By the time the drug criminals had reacted, his body had already hit the ground heavily. The red-clothed ghost Qingxi found that Ning Cheng instantly subdued his companions, and immediately wanted to run away. But Ning Cheng kicked him hard, and he fell to the ground. At this time, Zhang Zhengkai stood up, but already found that the 2 drug criminals had been dealt with. Brother Ning is cheating. Zhang Zhengkai couldn't help exclaiming as he removed his hand from the butt of the gun. Old Zhang, there's no need to admire, I don't have a brother as old as you, Ning Cheng chuckled. I just said it right. Zhang Zhengkai stared at Ning Cheng up and down, and said with shock. You're too agile, you can solve big cases, and you have such good skills, it's no reason to be uneven in the future. I'm not sure I'll really call you brother in the future. Don't tell me, brother Zhang, stop joking at this time, let's try these two people who pretend to be ghosts. Well, let's brag in the future. Zhang Zhengkai immediately joined Ning Cheng to interrogate the two drug criminals who pretended to be ghosts. It didn't take long for them to know the identities of the two. It's a drug criminal, for sure. It's just that the two belong to the bottom-level gangsters who knew something about the inside story, not even the middle level. The real drug criminals are still hidden in Wangang village. According to the red-clothed ghost and the white-clothed ghost, the two drug criminals Qingxi and Deidu confessed. Because of its remote geographical location, Wangang village has become a drug transfer station for them, with no access to the village in front of the village or a store behind. In addition to their bases, there are also a lot of gatherings under the floor of the ancestral house. But there was an accident when the villagers smashed their trade transport and mistook it for a ghost. Fortunately, they used this rumor to make the nearby superstitious residents dare not approach. The plan to use ghosts to cover up the hidden drugs was very successful and lasted for almost a month. While getting huge benefits, they also tasted the sweetness, so they want to continue to use it and keep this expensive route. After all, the police destroyed the drug dens every once in a while, and Wangang village could hide it for more than a month without attracting the police, which means that it can earn huge real money. Ning Cheng and Zhang Zhengkai looked at each other with shock in each other's eyes. If this is true, things are definitely far from being that simple. Because drugs are a huge illegal business link, if there are hidden drugs, then there are links of drug production and sales. Wangang village, as one of the drug dens in the three caves of the crafty rabbit, digs deep and finds clues, and it is possible to remove the upstream and downstream of the drug. How did you know we came to Wangang village? Zhang Zhengkai asked. Every day we have guys staying at the entrance of the village. After seeing you, and knowing that you have inquired about ghost legends, we know that you may want to enter the ancestral house. Zhang Zhengkai glanced at Ning Cheng and couldn't help but admire. Fortunately, Ning Cheng was careful not to let him drive the police car into the village, and they changed into plain clothes. Otherwise, the group of drug criminals, when they realize their identities, will divert and run away overnight, and they won't show up. Ning Cheng asked aloud, apart from you, how many drug criminals are there in Wangang village? There are 3 more, all in the bungalow in the east of the village. 3. Hearing this, Zhang Zhengkai's eyes lit up, and his body couldn't help being excited. If there are only 3, then with him and Ning Cheng, there is every chance of a successful arrest. That's the credit. Zhang Zhengkai then asked, do you have a gun? The big man hesitated for a while, and Zhang Zhengkai immediately glared and threatened, don't tell lies, or you will be sentenced to prison. My eldest brother has a pistol, the others are just like us, they are all younger brothers, no firearms. Ning Cheng, do you want to do it? Zhang Zhengkai turned to look at Ning Cheng, took a breath and said. 3 people, only a middle-level drug criminal has a gun in his hand. With your skills and my robbing, there is every chance to arrest them. Ning Cheng could feel Zhang Zhengkai's faint excitement. After all, if a criminal can be arrested, that would be a great achievement. But at the same time of credit, it also means risk. Ning Cheng was very calm and said, first report to the bureau, let them send some police support, and if you don't take action, ask the director's opinion. Also ask a fart. Zhang Zhengkai said solemnly, these 2 guys have been staying in the ancestral house for half an hour. Even if the bureau dispatches police to support, it will take more than an hour to arrive here. Do you think that the drug criminals in the village won't run away when the bureau sends someone? That group of drug criminals will run away when they smell a little trouble. We don't have much time for us to wait. Ning Cheng knew that what Zhang Zhengkai said made sense. Up to now, in order to prevent drug criminals from running away, only early arrests are made. Okay, let's go and arrest them together, but let's report to the Sound Bureau. Ning Cheng walked outside the ancestral house and called the police station to report. The opposite side still allowed Ning Cheng and Zhang Zhengkai's actions. However, the director Zhang Chaochen warned and urged Ning Cheng to pay attention to safety. The bureau has agreed that we will start this arrest. After finishing the call, Ning Cheng said to Zhang Zhengkai. And the bureau has dispatched police to come to support. They told us to be careful and pay attention to safety. Single quote. Be safe, that's for sure. Zhang Zhengkai smiled, patted Ning Cheng on the shoulder and said. Xiao Ning, you are so young, why are you so cautious? You were the first to arrest Zhao Tianfeng last time. I've always been cautious, but at that time I was in a hurry and I didn't have many choices. The police didn't have time to support me, so I had to go on my own. The situation may be more dangerous now than it was then. Zhang Zhengkai said solemnly. You're right, that drug criminal has a gun in his hand, and once he fires it, it's a life or death decision. Xiao Ning, you deal with the 2 drug criminals without guns, and leave the leader of the drug criminals with guns to me. Ning Cheng neither agreed nor refused. The situation at the scene of the arrest is changing rapidly, and even he does not know what will happen. Whether or not Ning Cheng will go all out to take down the 3 drug criminals depends on how things will evolve. He could see that Zhang Zhengkai was unwilling to be mediocre and wanted to take credit and get a promotion. Let's go. After handcuffing the 2 prisoners to death, Zhang Zhengkai tore down the curtain and stuffed it into the mouths of the 2 prisoners, blocking their mouths to prevent them from speaking. And many more. Ning Cheng stopped Zhang Zhengkai, walked up to the 2 drug criminals, and asked. There is no signal in the ancestral house, it should be that you used a high-power shield. The young people who stayed in the ancestral house in the past were in a coma. They should have been dizzy after inhaling the smoke. When you woke up, you 2 moved over to the graveyard. As for the blood-seeking wall, this strange phenomenon must have been caused by the use of chemical reagents. Because the ancestral house in Wanggang village is made of wood, a phenomenon similar to blood will seep out in the wet at night. The 2 drug criminals nodded in unison, their eyes full of horror. This is the strangest and most mysterious place in the ancestral house, but it was seen through by Ning Cheng at a glance. After getting the answer, Ning Cheng asked Zhang Zhengkai to deal with the 2 murderers. At this time, don't forget the doubts, you deserve to be able to solve so many cases. Zhang Zhengkai couldn't help but sigh. Ning Cheng laughed dumbly, and secretly raised the vigilance in his heart to the highest level. Next, it may be an uphill battle, and if the protection is not balanced, there will be a picture of gunfire flying against each other like in the movie. Ning Cheng is still in the trainee stage. He is not qualified to carry a gun, so naturally he does not have a gun. In order to save his life, he must improve his spirit and concentration. The 2 came to the nest of the small villa where the drug criminal had just explained, looked at the layout of the house, and made plans. This small villa looks very ordinary, a common style in the countryside. It has 3 floors. Now the door is closed, and it is extremely silent in the dark night. There are also 2 Mercedes-Benz cars parked in the courtyard of the small villa. I have a gun in my hand, I'll be in front later. Xiao Ning, you follow me. Zhang Zhengkai's plan is very simple. The 2 of them are in tandem to arrest the murderer. With any luck, the drug offenders are still in bed, making them easy to catch. If you don't work together, you block the front door, and I block the back door, so they can't easily escape. Ning Cheng suggested. No, you don't have a gun in your hand, it's too risky for you. Zhang Zhengkai firmly disagreed, and Ning Cheng had to agree to act together. Walk. Zhang Zhengkai took the lead in coming to the courtyard of the small villa. After deflating the 2 Mercedes-Benz cars, he knocked 3 times in front of the door and waited quietly. According to the 2 drug gangsters, it was a common code between their gangs. Sure enough, there were subtle footsteps coming from the door, accompanied by a yawn. Qingxi, Datu, you guys are a little late today. A drug criminal with yellow hair opened the door, and a gun was aimed at him. Don't talk, Zhang Zhengkai threatened. The yellow-haired drug criminal's pupils condensed, and after a brief moment of stunned spirit, he immediately roared after regaining consciousness. Big brother, there is a message coming, run. Zhang Zhengkai had never been so stunned before. He was not afraid of death. He was stunned for a while and didn't know whether to shoot. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. As a member of the public security team, Zhang Zhengkai is quite experienced in handling public security incidents. But in such a situation, it is not a professional criminal police team and an anti-drug team. Boom. At the same time as Huang Mao called, Ning Cheng kicked out with all his strength. hitting Wang Mao in the chest like a cannonball, and instantly kicked Wang Mao and vomited blood, causing him to fall to the ground in a coma. Zhang Zhengkai regained consciousness, looked at the yellow hair on the ground, and immediately rushed into the room desperately, ignoring his safety. But at this time, the back door of the small villa has been clanging open. Then came the roar of cars in the backyard. Zhang Zhengkai's expression changed. Where did the car come from? There were only 2 Mercedes-Benzes parked in the whole yard, and they were all deflated, and the drug criminals didn't even drive when they escaped. Where did the cars come from now? Ning Cheng chased to the backyard first and had already discovered the truth. It turned out that the car driven by the 2 drug criminals was not in the small villa, but was parked on the road by the neighbor's house opposite the door. Cunning rabbits in 3 caves, they didn't put their eggs in one basket at all. It's really alert, but what's wrong? You have to be a drug criminal. Ning Cheng sneered and said to Zhang Zhengkai, be optimistic about the drug criminals, wait for someone from the bureau, and give me the car keys. You're going after that Porsche. They have already driven away. Our car is still outside the village. Can we catch up? How do you know if you don't try? Ning Cheng thought of his world-class driving experience and wanted to try it. Zhang Zhengkai worried. They have guns in their hands, which may threaten the hostages or hurt you. It's too dangerous. I won't let them threaten me, or if Zhao Tianfeng threatens hostages again, they will never have a chance. The plan had already formed quickly in Ning Cheng's mind, and this time he was confident that he would nip the threat in the bud. In the end, Zhang Zhengkai gave the police car key to Ning Cheng. After getting the police car keys, Ning Cheng rushed out immediately. The police car parked at the entrance of Wanggang village and did not drive in at all. Ning Cheng was about to rush to the entrance of the village, and he still had 2 kilometers to run. But only this distance. For Ning Cheng, who has world-class parkour experience, it's nothing. Boom. Single quote. A graceful one-handed rollover was performed in Ning Cheng's hands, easily overrunning the natural ridge obstacles in the countryside. In order to shorten the time, Ning Cheng decided to take a shortcut. Instead of running the small road in the countryside, he chose to cross the ridge of Wanggang village. The difficulty of crossing this natural ridge is no worse than crossing the railings and obstacles in the city. Even more difficult, because the ridges and groves in the countryside always have large and small pits. At night, the line of sight is not enough. If you get stuck, you will definitely fall on your back. But Ning Cheng's parkour moves were quick and smooth, efficiently avoiding pits and overcoming obstacles with ease. Arriving at the entrance of Wanggang village and seeing the police car, Ning Cheng immediately got in. At this moment, the phone vibrated suddenly. The call was from Zhang Chao, the director, and Ning Cheng answered it without hesitation. Ning Cheng, are you going to hunt down that drug criminal? Director Zhang Chao's rich voice came out, and said solemnly. Just now Zhang Zhengkai has passed the news to us. According to his interrogation, the escaped drug criminal is called Gao Tianlong. Our city bureau just happens to have his file. The data shows that Gao Tianlong has 4 or 5 criminal records, suspected of robbery, murder, drug trafficking and other crimes. He is a wanted criminal on the run. He is no less fierce than Zhao Tianfeng. This trip is dangerous and I don't recommend you go after it. Since Gao Tianlong is no less threatening than Zhao Tianfeng, I think I should arrest him even more. Ning Cheng paused for half a second, took a deep breath and said. If such criminals are allowed to wander among the people, they may cause more harm in the future. Single quote. Now that we have seen this tumor, we should eradicate him in time to nip the threat in the bud. And the Wanggang village case involves a huge ecological chain of drug production, drug transportation, and drug trafficking. Catching Gao Tianlong will help us get rid of them and prevent more families from breaking up. The resolute and sonorous voice came from the other end of the phone, and Zhang Chao was stunned in his heart. Ning Cheng is right, Gao Tianlong is very dangerous. Moreover, Gao Tianlong is involved in a huge ecological chain of drugs, which is of great value for the detection of cases. He can hear it too. Ning Cheng didn't want to arrest Gao Tianlong, a murderous tumor, not because of credit, but out of his passion and sincerity for the country and the people. There are fewer and fewer people like Ning Cheng who are not afraid of sacrifice. In the Public Security Department of the Municipal Bureau, many leaders looked at each other and silently wrote down the name Ning Cheng. I apply for this arrest and arrest operation. I hope you can approve it. Ning Cheng spoke to Zhang Chaodao on the phone. How sure do you think you are? At this moment, another voice came from the mobile phone. It was resolute and calm, far different from Zhang Chao. Ning Cheng was stunned for half a second, and immediately said, as long as the city bureau can give me enough cooperation, I have a great deal, no, absolutely sure. The moment you hold the steering wheel of the police car and start the car. Ning Cheng seems to be able to see through every part of the police car, which is extremely clear and familiar. The world-class driving experience is like the realm of human and vehicle integration, so that Ning Cheng has the various technical experience of the world's top racing drivers, as well as the high-spirited and powerful self-confidence. Okay, the city bureau will arrange for the traffic bureau to cooperate with you enough. The unfamiliar voice said, I hope you can successfully arrest the drug criminals while ensuring your own safety. Thank you. The person on the phone on the other side must have unusual status and power. Ning Cheng didn't think much about it, and directly asked, I guess the drug criminal Gao Tianlong drove his Porsche to the Zhangcheng-Wancheng Expressway. I hope the Municipal Transportation Bureau can arrange a green passage for me to stop him directly. In addition, if there are toll stations and traffic police along the way, don't obstruct me. The sound fell, and the engine roared instantly. The police car was already galloping down the road, getting faster and faster. 80 per hour, 100, 120, 105. The police car was like a strong wind, breaking the road at night. As the provincial capital, Zhangcheng is still crowded with vehicles even at night. At this time, the car owners who came and went saw the white lightning strike in the dark night, and they were shocked and pale. But the next second, Ning Cheng turned the steering wheel in a hurry. S-shape, tail flick. The police car was like a spirit snake, flashing to the side of the passers-by's vehicle in an instant. Go so fast, you. The passers-by who passed through the gate of the Ghost Gate have lingering fears, and they directly yelled at him. But before the words were finished, when the car owner saw the flashing lights on the police car, he immediately swallowed the swear words back. It was replaced by a look of awe. It's still the police force Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and dare to drive 150 on this road, god of cars. The Ning Cheng police car sped down the road. It didn't take long for the call to come from the special line of the traffic bureau. Ning Cheng, your judgment is good. The drug criminal Gao Tianlong is indeed walking towards the Zhangcheng Ring Road, trying to escape. At present, if you want to intercept, there are two routes to choose from. The first choice is to take the expressway to hunt down, and the other is to take a shortcut, take Zhangcheng National Road 431, and go to the next expressway intersection to intercept. I see. Ning Cheng flicked the steering wheel and drove directly to the national highway. Zhangcheng has many mountains and complex geographical conditions. Sometimes expressways are not as fast as national highways in terms of speed in order to facilitate business and trade between cities. The drug criminal Gao Tianlong wanted to escape to other cities, and the most convenient choice was to take the high speed. But Ning Cheng will never let him get his wish. As a drug criminal, do you still want to go there? He wants to intercept Gao Tianlong in this city. Zhangcheng Transportation Bureau. The phone on Ning Cheng's end had just been hung up, when a security officer was suddenly stunned. What's the matter? Why are you in a daze? The colleague looked at the operator who had just talked to Ning Cheng and said, hurry up and notify the gas station and traffic police on National Highway 431 to release a green barrier-free passage for Ning Cheng. There is no need to notify the green channel in the National Highway, and no one will hinder it, because today's day is very special. The operator stood up, looking remorseful. What day? I remember, today is a national corner racing competition. The location is our Zhangcheng National Road 413. Another safety officer explained. What? The staff of the Transportation Bureau looked at each other, all stunned. The leader's complexion changed and hurriedly said, hurry up and inform Ning Cheng that there is a national race going on the national road. It's too dangerous, let him turn around and go to the highway pass. Single quote. Call Ning Cheng again. Ning Cheng listened to the whole process quietly. It's okay, I'm about to enter National Highway 431, just drive in, it's more convenient to capture Gao Tianlong. That's too dangerous, said the Traffic Bureau personnel urgently. Don't worry, I know what to do. Ning Cheng looked calm and hung up the phone directly. Then, speed up the police car again. Hearing the beeping sound on the other side, the traffic bureau personnel and the city bureau personnel present were full of worries and expectations. Will Ning Cheng really be safe? Can you really catch the drug criminal Gao Tianlong? At the same time, 431 State Road. A drifting and cornering competition that brings together the top professional racers in the country is underway. All the top racers from all over the country gather here. The top racing cars and super sports cars that are extremely rare to see on weekdays also appear. Zhongcheng is a mountainous area. National Highway 431 is a national highway built according to the mountains. It has 9 bends and 18 bends, and is usually extremely dangerous. But because of the many curves, the runway is dangerous. The 431 National Road is often selected as a location for many movies and a national racing location. At this time, the National Road has been blocked, and the racing cars are surrounded by excited racing fans. In addition, major TV stations, online media, and news websites are all broadcasting live simultaneously. This is a competition of the nation's top racing masters. Countless fans outside the venue and online fans are paying attention and looking forward to it. Inside National Highway 431, top racers sit in their cars and start their engines at the first command. Boom, signal begins. All the racing engines roar and riot, like a dragon roar. Just this moment, one car after another gallops out. The sound is shocking. A pair of scarlet Ferrari sports cars took the lead in an instant after drifting through a few corners. Extremely fast, reached 200 km/h. The audience was shocked. Friends from the audience, you can see that Wang Chen started very well, and he is worthy of the last racing champion, and he is very stable in continuous cornering, and his speed is still high. Several cars behind him failed to corner and left the track one after another, and the car was almost scrapped. This is the charm of National Highway 431. It is built on the basis of the mountains of Zhongcheng and is extremely dangerous. Just a reminder, this is not a joke at all, it is a race of speed and life. Every netizen who was watching the racing game standing in front of the TV screen and mobile phone screen heard the comments of professionals. When the camera switches to the pictures of those several sports cars being destroyed and scrapped and smoking, the audience took a deep breath. This racing game is really a life-threatening game. The racing car at high speed, drifting through corners, extremely tests the handling skills of the racing driver. If the racer is a little careless or in a trance, it is easy to cause the car to crash and die. And the danger of National Highway 431 is far more than Chu Mingshan. The reality is not the initial D, the movie can be wrong, and once the car misses the wrong one, it may be in the underworld. Wang Chen is really too strong, he is like a strong wind, a heavenly horse, firmly occupying the first position. Look, what a beautiful cornering and drifting technique, what a handsome maneuver, his speed has broken through 210, 220, 230. 230. Remember this number. Wang Chen has broken his cornering speed record last year. The professional host turned red and shouted excitedly for comments. Netizens followed the camera and noticed that Wang Chen's red Ferrari seemed to be in the rush of extreme speed. But, suddenly, a police car appeared on the camera. Get on the racing track. What is that? The netizens watching the live broadcast opened their eyes wide, staring at the white car on the national highway overtaking the supercars. I'm going, it's a pair of police cars. That's a police car. It's so fast, and many professional sports cars are left behind by him. Now, spectators and fans on both sides of the track all spotted Ning Cheng's police car and pulled into the racetrack. The host of the online commentary was dumbfounded, and wiped his eyes carefully, only to be sure that he was not mistaken. In the video, that police car was as fast as a white lightning bolt. Drive into the track at extreme speed and overtake the expensive supercars in front of you. Now, in front of the police car, only Wang Chen's Ferrari is left. The moment Ning Cheng drove the police car into the 341 National Highway, it touches the hearts of countless people. Zhongcheng, Transportation Bureau. A group of security guards and leaders. Looking at the picture of the electronic screen in the bureau, the complexion gradually became shocked. In the video, it is Ning Cheng driving into National Road 341 and breaking into the National Corner racing picture. When seeing Ning Cheng drifting through corner after corner in the traffic bureau, the audience is watching. Everyone held their breath. As long as they are locals in Zhangcheng, they all know how dangerous the 341 National Road is. Nearly 100 corners. Even an old driver who is most familiar with road conditions in Zhangcheng would never dare to relax his vigilance on this national road. It is precisely because the 341 National Road has such a curve and is so dangerous that it has been selected as the national racing drifting arena. Boom! The police car roared, the screen suddenly turned, and it was another nearly 80 degrees Celsius bend, which was easily passed by Ning Cheng. This guy drives too hard, corners fast and steady. If it wasn't for my age and my body couldn't bear it, I would want to hire this guy to be my driver. In the traffic bureau, many safety officers listened to the leaders at the front joking, and couldn't help but envy. This time, Ning Cheng has really caught the eye of the leaders of the city bureau, and his future will definitely be bright. However, this future is all based on Ning Cheng's excellent and solid technology. They only have envy, but they can't learn. Zhangcheng Police Station. In front of the LCD TV screen, many of Ning Cheng's colleagues stared at the white police car in the picture. Beautiful, drifting around corners, Ning Cheng cheating. How come I didn't know that Ning Cheng has such strong driving skills? It's outrageous. Being able to solve crimes, capture, and have such strong driving skills, what other skills Ning Cheng can't do? I finally understand that there is a difference between people's physiques. Compared with Ning Zhe, I give up. In the police station, everyone watched the synchronous live broadcast of the drifting car. When Ning Cheng was seen drifting fast through the corners, he overtook the professional racers in front of him. Whether it was a newcomer or a veteran, they were all excited and cheered for Ning Cheng. That energy is like watching the World Cup. Come on, brother Ning, overtake the Ferrari at the front and catch the drug criminal. Come on, brother Ning, those who violate the interests of the people will be punished even if they are far away. Brother Ning, catch him, don't let our blood flow in vain. Looking at the video, all the old and new police officers in front of the screen turned into this sentence. As police officers, they can empathize most with Ning Cheng's experience. When faced with criminals, they are willing to give their lives, at all costs, to protect the people. Zhou Zian stood in front of the TV, watching the live broadcast. Her eyes were slightly red, and she prayed for Ning Cheng's safe return. Just as each of them cheered in their hearts, Ning Cheng is driving a police car and is about to break through another corner ahead. Behind him, several professional cars were left behind, trying to catch up to him. In front of him, only the Ferrari of the last national drift and cornering champion Wang Chen. Ning Cheng has no expression on his face. Control the direction by hand, step on the accelerator. Moment, step on the brakes, turn your hands to the left. In an instant, when the accelerator and the brake are alternated, the sideways quickly changes the inherent rhythm. Stab, when the direction of the car body is reversed, and the tires are violently rubbing against the mountain road, the harsh neighing makes people blood boil. Sitting in the car, Ning Cheng looked calm and restrained. Every step of his movements is as precise as a scalpel. Driving skills at their peak. Drift, corner, drive through multiple corners in a row. Ning Cheng is getting faster and faster. 160 km. 190 km. 220 km. When going through the corner, Ning Cheng's speed not only did not decrease, but also accelerated. The photography on the national road perfectly recorded the state of Ning Cheng and transmitted it to the network synchronously. This moment, countless spectators exploded. The screeching of the tires rubbing against the mountain road and the roar of the engine seemed to ignite the blood of everyone present. Scalp tingling. What a fast police car. Did you see that the speed of the police car is getting faster and faster, and it is approaching the speed of the champion Wang Chen? The master is in the people. No, the master is in the police force. I feel that it won't be long before the police car will surpass Wang Chen's Ferrari. It's so bloody, I get goosebumps. The one in the police car is definitely a master. I feel that his skills are better than the champion Wang Chen. There was a famous mountain bike god in autumn before, and today there is a 341 national road bike god, Rush Rush. As the last national champion, Wang Chen concentrated on driving the modified Ferrari, completely ignoring Ning Cheng, who was catching up behind him. What, are you catching up? Lu Kai, the navigator of Wang Chen's co-pilot, looked at the police car in the rearview mirror in shock. What's catching up? Could it be those elite drivers? Wang Chen looked ahead and asked quickly. Lu Kai shook his head and said, no, the car behind you is a police car, he's about to catch up with you. What are you kidding, police car? Wang Chen couldn't believe it. The navigator Lu Kai took a deep breath and exclaimed. In the beginning, the police car accidentally broke into the track and overtook many professional racers one after another. I was afraid of disturbing your thoughts. I didn't tell you, but now he is about to surpass us. Police car, similar to the legend of Chu's famous mountain car god. Wang Chen pursed his lips tightly, and his voice became more and more low. No matter what that cop car is going to do, as long as he's on the track, then I have to defend my honor and dignity. I was overtaken by an amateur police car, I can't afford to lose this person. The Ferrari engine roars, speeding up again. Your drifting speed has reached 230, which is the highest speed in your career. If you continue to break through, it will be uncontrolled and life-threatening. How many meters are we missing? Wang Chen gritted his teeth and stared straight ahead. About 50 meters. Fight! Wang Chen roared, looking at the curve ahead, his speed suddenly increased. In the live video, countless viewers and netizens saw this scene, and they were all ignited. The host on the national road turned red, picked up the microphone and said excitedly. See it or not, Wang Chen has already felt the threat from that police car. He has accelerated. Wang Chen wants to defend his glory and dignity as a champion. Look, 240 km per hour, this speed is the highest in Wang Chen's history, which means he has to stand shoulder to shoulder with death. On the national road, Ning Cheng looked at the car in front and smiled lightly. Then, kick the accelerator down. A roar, the speed of the police car soared again, like a white dragon, piercing the water and flying towards the sky. Prick, the sound of sharp tires and mountain rubbing sounded again. Almost instantly, the Ning Cheng police car is already flush with the Ferrari. The nearly 60-degree corner is right up front. This arc can be called the angle of death. If you are not careful, you will miss the king of hell. Especially for Ning Cheng. Wang Chen is on the inside of the curve, he is on the outside of the curve, the difficulty factor and death factor are higher. But this time, Ning Cheng's foot on the accelerator did not release, and he kept accelerating. Crazy, so crazy. Wang Chen and navigator Lu Kai's pupils widened rapidly, and the idea appeared in their hearts. In the live screen of synchronous transmission, all the audience opened their eyes and their blood was pouring. Overtaking. That police car speeded up and overtook it. On the national road scene, the host watched this scene in disbelief and roared at the live broadcast. Overtaking. Drift overtaking. Overtaking under the arc of death. He not only increased his speed, but also increased his speed in the corner, and the speed has reached 260 km per hour. He not only surpassed Wang Chen, but also surpassed death. As long as that police car runs fast enough, death can't catch up. Boom! The police car roared, and a roar like a dragon broke out. The traffic bureau, the police station, and every audience standing in front of the live broadcast screen were all staring at the live broadcast screen. The curve under the arc of death, the god of death seems to be wielding a scythe, looking forward to harvesting life. At this time, Ning Cheng's speed increased instead of decreasing. Can you pass? Countless audiences are looking forward to it. In the police station, the colleagues who get along with Ning Cheng day and night pray. Zhou Zian's eyes were red, looking at the picture in the video, a heart raised in her throat. Stab. With the screeching of tires and mountain roads, Ning Cheng crossed the corner quickly and safely. After passing the curve, his speed is still increasing. Ride the dust. Then quickly pass the finish line set by the car race on State Route 341. The video is synchronously transmitted to the live screen. The blood of countless audiences is burning. They witnessed an almost miraculous scene with their own eyes. At the same time, a big question arises in the minds of spectators and professional racers. What is the identity of the policeman in the police car? Driving so fast, on a mission. What is the task performed? They have no way of knowing. Only the police in the police station and the leaders in the city bureau know. Ning Cheng is fulfilling his mission. If the arrest of drug criminal Gao Tianlong is successful, it means that a huge ecological chain of drugs may be destroyed and the interests of countless families and people can be saved. It is not that there are no other ways to arrest Gao Tianlong. For example, setting up a pickup card and mobilizing the police force to control it. But these methods are too late. For a drug criminal like Gao Tianlong who has successfully escaped many times, if he escapes once, he may never have the chance to be arrested again. Ning Cheng is the best hope. Passing through National Highway 341, Ning Cheng will soon reach the intersection of Zhongcheng-Wancheng Expressway. Without any hesitation, go straight to the expressway. At this time, the traffic bureau's call came to Ning Cheng's cell phone. On behalf of the city council, thank you for your sprint without fear of sacrifice. It's okay, I'm sure I can do it. Ning Cheng was stunned for a second, his heart warmed, and he immediately asked. According to satellite positioning and Tianyan monitoring, has Gao Tianlong's car reached my intersection? You came just right. According to the positioning display, Gao Tianlong's vehicle is 10 kilometers ahead. At your speed, you can catch up soon. That's good, I understand. Ning Cheng, we need to remind you that Gao Tianlong holds a firearm, which is extremely dangerous. We know that you are very good, but you can't underestimate the enemy. A strong and powerful voice reminded. I know, I made a plan, and I don't plan to fight against them. What's the plan? Knock him over. Ning Cheng replied simply. At high speed, the collision is very dangerous, and there is life safety. I do not approve this plan. Ning Cheng's mouth twitched. He estimated that the opposite must be the leader of the city bureau, and explained. This is the best way to avoid the incident of taking hostages by Gao Tianlong, and it can cut off their threat of force. My driving skills are very good. You should have seen it just now. I am sure. No matter how good your driving skills are, I won't approve this kind of plan. The thick voice on the other side insisted. The risk is too great, an extremely subtle mistake is the end of the car crash. We can't trade the life of a good police officer for the life of a crime-ridden drug criminal. There was no such precedent in Zhongcheng before, nor will there be in the future. Quote, I know, but I am soberly aware of what I am doing. In any case, even if I chase to the ends of the earth, I will never let a criminal go. Ning Cheng's voice came clearly from the phone. The face of the middle-aged man at the front of the traffic bureau flashed a moving color. Even if you chase to the ends of the earth, you will never let go of a criminal. This concept is shocking. All the police officers on standby in the traffic bureau couldn't help but lose their minds. When they heard that sentence, they immediately felt awe in their hearts. Ning Cheng paused for half a second and continued. I hope the police can be notified to rush to this location quickly, my phone is out of power. Then, Ning Cheng hung up the phone decisively. It will be affected by the fate of the outer monarch. Now that the situation is like this, the best way is to hit it. After all, he didn't have a gun in his hand, so he couldn't shoot, and on the highway, he couldn't get out of the car. Only take advantage of vehicle impact scenarios. Directly hit the drug criminal Gao Tianlong into serious injuries. With Ning Cheng's world-class driving experience, you can achieve this while protecting yourself. As soon as he said it, Ning Cheng increased his speed again and quickly chased after Gao Tianlong. It didn't take long for Gao Tianlong's white Porsche to catch his eye. Just as Ning Cheng was about to speed up the crash, the phone rang again. This time it was Zhou Zian who called. After hesitating for 2 seconds, Ning Cheng took it. Are you going to crash? Zhou Zian asked. That's right. Are you sure? Ning Cheng replied, sure. Just be sure, I hope to see you again. Yes, I will. The conversation was brief, but after Ning Cheng hung up, he felt inexplicably relaxed. The white Porsche is right up front. Ning Cheng suddenly stepped on the accelerator to the end. Boom! The tires rubbed violently against the ground, like a beast roaring. The police car sped away towards the Porsche. Have you eaten yet? Drive faster. I've already made a phone call to inform us that someone will pick us up when we go to Binhai. The man with the dove face in the car couldn't help but laugh at the corner of his mouth. Fortunately, we were vigilant and arranged for other vehicles, or else I'm afraid that it will be taken away in Wanggang. Huang Mao, who was driving the car, looked up at the sky eye monitor, and said with a bitter expression. Boss Gao, all the highways are monitored by Sky Eyes. I guess we are all located by satellite. Where should we escape? Let's go to Binhai first, then I have arrangements. Gao Tianlong looked at his younger brother, and he had already made a plan in his heart to abandon his soldiers and protect the commander. He could let his younger brother out to lure the police away, so that he could escape. With such a clever plan, to be able to escape from death, Gao Tianlong couldn't help humming. No one in the world can catch me, otherwise how could I have the name of a winged tiger on the road? The boss is amazing, the younger brother boasted. That's, Gao Tianlong was triumphant, and his face suddenly condensed. Did you hear the sound of thorns? No. As soon as the voice came out, Gao Tianlong and the two suddenly widened their eyes. Because from the side and rear, a white police car drifted over and hit the front of them sideways. Under the fast high speed, the powerful twisting force instantly deformed the two cars. The front of the Porsche was sunken and was overturned directly. The police car was not able to get there, and there was a huge collapse and distortion on the left side. Countless pieces of vehicles fell to the ground. The two cars parked silently on the highway, motionless. Half an hour later, the supporting police arrived at the scene of the expressway. Everyone looked at the tragic scene in front of them and couldn't help holding their breath. Looking at the two stationary cars, Zhou Ziyan covered her mouth and her eyes were red. Is Ning Cheng still alive? Zhongcheng, Wancheng Expressway. The police chief Zhang Chao, Zhou Ziyan, Zhou Zi, Lu Rong, Zhang Zhengkai and others were all present. Look at the wrecked car debris in front of you. And also, the police car that rolled over to the ground and remained motionless with a huge dent in the body. Everyone's heart is tangled at this moment. Is Ning Cheng still alive? On high-speed roads, the speed should be at least 120 km per hour. Such a fast speed, a mistake, is the end of the car crash. If Ning Cheng dies, they are absolutely unacceptable. Exchange the life of an excellent policeman for a criminal drug criminal. Lifting a car, you want to see people when you die, and you want to see corpses when you live. The director Zhang Chao roared, and all the male police officers spontaneously walked to Ning Cheng's police car and gave it all their strength. Xiao Ning, you must not die. You're going to die. Laozi will scold you when he goes to the palace of hell. Zhang Zhengkai raised the bumper with both hands, his face flushed red with all his strength, and hot tears could not help bursting out of his eyes. He is so sorry. If he was more experienced in Wanggang village and decisively subdued the drug criminal when he opened the door, there would be no follow-up. Ning Cheng doesn't have to risk his life to hunt down Gao Tianlong. The Ningcheng district should not have been pursued in the first place. With him, this would not have happened. Xiao Ning, you survived Laozi. I didn't die. Zhang Zhengkai, you must not die. You don't have a girlfriend, a wife, or a child, how can you die? Zhang Zhengkai roared loudly. The faces of the policemen who were raising the police car were all moved, and their eyes were sparkling. Ning Cheng, only 24 years old this year. It is the best age for young people, like the rising sun, like a flower that has just bloomed. Such a young age. There are too many good things I have not experienced, and I have not tried a lot of happiness and fun. But when faced with criminals, Ning Cheng has no hesitation, no fear of sacrifice. Ning Cheng, if you die, who will accompany me on the mission, and survive? The sound resounded on the highway intersection. With the efforts of all the police car was brought upright with a bang. Cough, cough, I don't die so easily, Brother Zhang, stop screaming, listen. There was a slight coughing sound from inside the police car. Ning Cheng is not dead. All the police looked ecstatic. Zhou Ziyan couldn't help covering her mouth and shuddered. Xiao Ning, are you not dead? Zhang Zhengkai hurriedly stepped forward and saw the pale Ning Cheng in the police car. Wait, we'll save you right away. My body is blocked, cut off that obstacle and I can get out by myself. Okay, fire. The firefighters who were already in place immediately rushed to rescue Ning Cheng with professional equipment. Hurry to the provincial hospital. Director Zhang Chao immediately ordered his colleagues to take Ning Cheng to an ambulance. Don't be so troublesome, I haven't been hurt in any way, I just got stuck in the car and couldn't get out. Ning Cheng smiled and refused. It's out now, it's all right. Many leaders were still worried, and the doctor who arranged for Ning Cheng to give Ning Cheng a temporary checkup was relieved after confirming that everything was fine. You kid is really lucky. Zhang Zhengkai laughed loudly and patted Ning Cheng on the shoulder. It seems that God has long eyes and doesn't want to accept you. Ning Cheng laughed dumbly. Of course, it's not that the sky has long eyes, but his skill is excellent. Under a good calculation, he used the drift to make the police car roll over Gao Tianlong's Porsche sideways. If not, you can be sure that you are not life-threatening. Ning Cheng is definitely not going to take this approach. However, colleagues and leaders in the police station felt that Ning Cheng was not afraid of sacrifice and did not believe that he could achieve such a precise impact. After half an hour, Gao Tianlong and another drug criminal were rescued from the car. They didn't have the skill and luck of Ning Cheng, they were both injured and fell into a coma. After sending Gao Tianlong to the hospital for guards, the police chief Zhang Chao introduced Ning Cheng to the middle-aged people around him, saying, Ning Cheng, this is Wang Dong from the Municipal Bureau. The Wang Bureau has given us a lot of help and cooperation in the case today. What's the help? The arrest of important drug criminals like Gao Tianlong is also thanks to Ning Cheng. Wang Donglai's face was resolute and his body was strong. He stretched out his hand and said, Young man, you are very heroic, you are not afraid of sacrifice, you chase to the ends of the earth, and you also want to hunt down the murderer's spirit. It is worth all of us to learn from you. Ning Cheng held Wang Ju's hand and said sincerely, This is what I should do. I believe that my colleagues in the city will make the same choice as me when encountering such a situation. I am just one of the police. Director Zhang Chao's eyes lit up. Ning Cheng's remarks, or his remarks, are very level. Well said, Xiao Ning, you are very conscious and energetic. Zhu Wang nodded and looked at Ning Cheng with admiration. However, you deserve a lot of credit for your performance today. Our city bureau sees it, and the people see it too. If you have credit, you will be rewarded. Your performance is outstanding today, and you deserve it. Second class. Second class. In an instant, the eyes of the surrounding police officers became hot. Ning Cheng has won the second-class merit by solving 3 major cases in a row. How long has it been since then? Ning Cheng has got another second-class credit. This is too strong, it's enviable. Many police officers are envious, but they know that they cannot be the same as Ning Cheng. Even if the drug criminal Gao Tianlong is tracked down at the speed of life and death, even the arrest of drug criminals in Wanggang village is very dangerous. If you make a mistake, you may die. In addition to the second-class merit, there is a bonus of 30,000 yuan. These are the rewards you deserve. Wang Ju patted Ning Cheng on the shoulder. For Ning Cheng, he admires him very much. He has the courage to fight and work hard, and his brain is very good. He can solve major cases repeatedly as a new apprentice, and his future achievements will never be low. It's the King's Bureau. Ning Cheng agreed to come down. Early in the morning, Ning Cheng rushed to the police station, and Zhang Chao, the director, held a commendation meeting for Ning Cheng, and awarded Ning Cheng a second-class medal, certificate and bonus. This second class is the last time. Yesterday, the second-class merits promised by the Wang Bureau will be promulgated some time later. At the commendation meeting, Director Zhang Chao delivered a speech to Ning Cheng in person, with thunderous applause, and countless envious eyes turned to Ning Cheng. After the conference, Ning Cheng heard countless apprentices calling him Ning Zhe. After solving several cases and arresting the murderer, not only did Ning Cheng rise in status in the police station, the new trainees were all headed by Ning Cheng. Brother Ning, you can take me with you in the future. The old man Zhang Zhengkai walked up to Ning Cheng and joked. I got a third-class merit with you last night, when will you bring me a second-class merit? Last night, Zhang Zhengkai also got a third-class merit in the hunt for murder in Wanggang village. I'm going, still smug in front of me. Who was crying to death yesterday? I don't know if you thought you were my wife. While smoking, Zhang Zhengkai said, my wife is still at home, and I already have daughters. If it wasn't for my young age, I would like to accept Brother Ning as my son-in-law. Ning Cheng chuckled softly and said, then I don't mind, I can wait when I'm young. When Lao Zhang's daughter grows to 18, I'll marry her. Go go go, I don't want to. Zhang Zhengkai's joke made many old and new police officers can't help laughing. But at this moment, an old Zhanghu stood up and looked at Ning Cheng in shock and said, Ning Cheng, your driving video is trending. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.